going on, everybody? My name is Timothy Cato III, but you could just simply call me Cato. And this is I Got More to Say, a hip-hop podcast where we talk everything surrounding the culture. Rather publishing, rather the industry, rather current events, rather hip-hop fashion, we speak about it. And today, I have a very, 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 very special guest. Man, where do I even start? I met this young woman here at Syracuse University where I attend classes here within the Newhouse building of public communications. I'm audio arts, as some of you guys may know, but this lovely young lady happens to be in advertising. Born in Atlanta, GA. You a Grady baby?
No, I'm not a Grady baby.
What baby you is?
That's a whole other story.
You don't know the hospital? Okay, bet. She just kind of fucked my shit up. But born in Atlanta somewhere. We don't know if she real Atlanta, because if she not born in Grady, she ain't real Atlanta, according to...
That's not true.
That's not true?
No.
Okay. So anyways, born in Atlanta, Georgia, a graduate of Clark Atlanta with a bachelor's degrees in mass media studies and with a focus in PR?
Focus in PR.
Focus in PR. And here at Syracuse University, doing advertising, as I stated before. Her motto, you put me anywhere on this earth, I will triple my worth. Lived every damn where below the Mason-Dixon line. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about none other than the lovely, the beautiful, the charming, the talented Samara Sanders. Samara, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. See, you did your homework, but you didn't do your homework.
Oh, man. So I see that's how we starting off for the first minute.
No, that's not how we started. No,
okay.
But we're going to get there.
I want to put all your business out there.
We're going to go back to it towards the end.
Got you. Sam, first off, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. As I said before, I started this platform to speak with people such as yourself. I've always enjoyed our music conversations. You're one of the most knowledgeable people that I've ever met around my age as far as everything surrounding the music industry, especially Southern hip-hop, which, is, very near and dear and close to my heart. Sam, real quick, though, I wanted you just, if you don't mind, just to, talk about, where you were born, your upbringing, where you're from. Tell the people a little bit about yourself.
So, I was pretty much raised in Atlanta, but because my mom moved around a lot, and then she had a lot of people in my family, like a village. It takes a village to raise a child. Mm-hmm. So, times where she couldn't, other people stepped in to do it, and our family spread out in a lot of different places. So I've lived in Louisiana, I've lived in Mississippi, and I've lived in Texas, and I've lived in Georgia. So actually, let's go back to the beginning. I was actually born in Texas. That's the crazy part. I was born in Texas, and then right after I was born, my mom went to, she sent me to my auntie in Mississippi. And they would go back and forth between Mississippi and Louisiana. And then afterwards, I ended up getting sent to live with my grandma in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And that was when I was about 4 years old. Okay. So I moved there when I was starting or leaving pre-K. Let me say that. So... Can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, I was just trying to talk about your come up, your story, pretty much how you got to where you are right now. Okay. So you moved to Atlanta when you settled in Atlanta when you was 4.
Right. Okay, so I was with my grandma, mm-hmm. and so my mom ended up moving to Atlanta also, but this was years later after my grandma had got breast cancer. So my grandma got breast cancer in 2007, mm-hmm. and 06 or 07, and that's when my mom ended up moving to Atlanta to help take care of my grandma and take care of me and her little sister, which is my aunt, et cetera, et cetera. So my mom was in marketing. She did a lot of marketing during the crunk era, and so the crunk era, I would say it lasted between 05 to 07, maybe even back as far as 04 to 07.
I would say 03.
Okay.
0203, because Ying Yang Twins and Little John.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, and the East Side Boys.
Yeah, realistically, to me, I think 8 Ball and MJG kind of helped with the crunk era as well, but that's a topic for another day. But as far as Atlanta, we'll say 2002 to 2000, whatever.
Okay,
yeah,
that's fair.
Okay.
That's fair. Mm-hmm. So just the early 2000s, and then, of course, I was little. So this is the era that I'm growing up in Atlanta. So I just saw my mom doing stuff, and she was always gone she had like a lot of work during like in nightclubs, and like she was making sure people were straight and stuff like that. And it was just like interesting to me. Like I wanted to know what was going on, but I also just loved music. And I remember her buying me like my first radio, and she bought me like 3 CDs, like 3 to 5 CDs. I know like one of them was like Melanie Fiona, one of them was Rihanna, one of them was Black Eyed Peas. Like she always used to put me on to different varieties of music. And then of course like just through the radio, like she would take me to school in the morning and I would listen to the radio station. So like Hot 107.9, V103, Kiss 104, like those were like my favorite radio stations. So I would purposely like miss the bus so that I could listen to the radio.
Like while she drove you to school?
Yeah.
Oh, you got away with some shit, bro.
I didn't get away with this. Sometimes like I would get in trouble. But like,
but you love the radio that much.
Yeah.
And what station was it?
V103 and Hot 107.9.
Okay, I'm familiar.
Yeah, and then Kiss 104.
Them like the 2 radio stations in Atlanta.
Yeah, and then Kiss 104 was kind of like the like smooth jazz and like R&B and stuff like that. So, but anyways, like I just grew like a passion for music. I even like did like I auditioned for like talent shows and stuff. Like I don't know if y'all had it. But like in the South, talent shows are really like huge thing for us. Like you go you get in a group with your friends, y'all practice a little dance routine to whatever song is out at the time. I know we did one in 5th grade. We did Baby with Justin Bieber, and then in 4th grade we did Sierra's 1-2 Step. So it's just like getting together with your friends was like a big thing and like creating something. So I come from like a creative background all around, just like dancing, singing, modeling, all of that. And then you have to also think about like I was in Atlanta, and that's all people did was dance. Like we had like the 1-2 step, we had the walk it out, we had the 2-step. Like it was just like these little dances that would come out, the nay nay, all this type of stuff. So it was just like what you would call it, like back then it was called like turns up or whatever. Like that's just what we did. Or we would go skating with our friends. And we thought we was grown. Like, that was, like, the pre-club era for us. Like, so before we could turn 18.
Yeah, definitely skating?
Yeah.
Like at Cascade and stuff?
Yeah, well, I was on... So, the Cascade is technically, like, I would say, like, more towards, like, the west side. I was on the south side. So, it was more so, like, Golden Glide or, like, Starlights or, like, Skate Zone for us. Yeah. It was more like Starlight and Skate Zone for us.
Okay.
And then, like, if you was to go to the west side, like, okay, you probably go to Cascade, yeah.
Nah, I just brought back memories. Nah, for real. Yeah. Just for those of you who don't know, I'm actually born in Atlanta. Wouldn't necessarily say I'm from there. Mostly upstate, but just figured I'd put that out there. Skating, what is it you said? That was like the pre-club. Nah, you damn right about that one.
It was pre-club.
Nah, yeah, you sure ain't wrong. Yeah, like middle school era. Nah, that right.
Sometimes like that was the era. Like sometimes like if your parents were strict, like you'd be like, oh, I'm going to such and such house, and then y'all go from there.
Now, Sam, real quick, and thank you for that. I appreciate you for sharing that. But so now that we pretty much at like your middle school years, crunk area of Atlanta into the early trap era of Atlanta, then into the full mainstream trap era, then into kind of like the party and the dance music era, then into like I call it like trap resurrected. So like the Savages and the Babies and everybody like that.
Migos.
So yeah, you didn't exactly Migos, all of them. Rest in peace to Takeoff, by the way. Yeah, so you pretty much experienced, I would say, Atlanta's like golden years. Not to say that they're not still in them, but
the old Atlanta. That's what we call it, old Atlanta versus new Atlanta.
Yeah, you experienced both.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, because you went to college at Clark, and your college years was pretty much Baby and all of them taking off, and the Migos was taking off. So the question I have for you is just, but before we kind of get to your college years, I always say that I feel like, people who really fall in love with music, we do it at a real young age. And, obviously you did it like in grade school, but I think middle school is kind of like the years where you really, you realize if this is something that you're just going to be an easy listener, if you're really going to be invested. So obviously you chose to be invested. So where am I going with this? So what was like you listening to like in your household, and then what was you listening to like during like your middle school years?
Oh, my household overall, or during that era, like during that time period?
Your household overall, what was being played in the house? Like, you know what I'm saying? From like your cousins, because I know you got a lot of your brothers, your sisters, your mom, your daddy, like who else?
All right, well, this will be a big one. And I think my mama can agree with me on this. So my mom, she worked a lot. So she sometimes, like I said, it took a village to raise me, or raise us. She would drop me off at my auntie's house a lot, so that she could watch me and look after me and stuff like that. But all my cousins were always older than me. So I was like the little cousin that they had to like take everywhere with them, like because their mama made them, you know, because they would get into trouble, all this, whatever. So I was just like tagging along all the time. So I saw a lot of stuff growing up and I heard a lot of stuff growing up. So this is a big one. During '05, that's when Hurricane Katrina happened. So all my family, not a lot, but all of them moved from New Orleans to Atlanta. And most of them moved back to New Orleans years later, but some of them ended up staying in Atlanta. So when they came, most of them were in middle school and high school. So I got to hear all the music that I wasn't supposed to be listening to.
So can you name some of those artists?
Lil Wayne, BG, everybody from Cash Money.
Okay.
Everybody
so
from No
Juvie,
Limit. Yeah.
Turk, BG Wayne, all of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Any real quick, because a lot of people don't know this. Mac 10 was actually signed to Cash Money. Did you ever hear his Cash Money album or nah? Not really.
I didn't hear it, but I know he had a song with Wayne because there was one on. It was like a movie soundtrack. I forgot what the movie was.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot what the movie was.
Next Friday.
Yeah, next Friday. How you know that?
Like, oh, yeah. What you mean? I came up in this. Because I got a ride does. I got a pocket full of. Yeah, I remember that one. It's Friday. Yeah, when BG was on there.
Yeah.
Okay, bet. So you said you said you listened to your cousins who came up from New Orleans. So you said a lot of Cash Money. How about some No Limit? Any No Limit or not really? Yeah.
Okay. I mean, he's actually our cousin. I've never met him, but he's our cousin.
No Limit is our cousin?
Mass P.
Wait, what?
Yeah. I know.
I've been knowing you for about like 9-10 months. You just know, how much I really respect.
Because I personally don't know him.
But you just now telling me that?
I mean, it ain't nothing to say. I can't call him.
I done had 2 or 3 dissertations where I done told about Master P's history and just his influence and his genius as an entrepreneur. You're just now telling me in front of all these cameras? I appreciate that, Sam. You saved some good for the show. But wow, you and Master P are actually related. It makes sense. It's the South. Yeah. Down the line.
People don't understand that either. Like, it's very small.
Yeah. As big as the South is, it's very small. So you said you never really listened to No Limit like that growing up, but even though Master P was your cousin.
So I listened to them growing up because my mom also was into like rap and all that. So I definitely listened to them, but my cousins mostly listened to Cash Money because they were younger. You feel what I'm saying? And Lil Wayne was really popping. Like Go DJ had came out, all that.
Cash Money kind of they run like the late 90s and then like a couple years in the early 2000s, and then Cash Money really had they run. I mean, late 90s, yes, but really 2000 on and 2000 to 2012, Cash Money was going crazy.
Right. So you have to think about it. Like, it's not like, we don't listen to No Limit. Like, no, we love No Limit, but it's just
Cash Money's was popping right now.
My cousins were in middle school and high school, so they came up on Cash Money.
Gotcha. So you look like during like your adolescent years, your real young years, so like 5 to 10, a lot of Cash Money.
Yeah.
And what else was going on at that time?
Oh, what else was going on at that time?
Yeah.
So she had the crunk era. You had to, when it started to like go on. Give me some years.
So like, you said when you was 5, or you said because around Hurricane Katrina time you was like 5 or 6. So 2007.
Like 6, 7,
so 2007, like 2011. What was that like?
2006, 2011. Oh, I think the OMG Girls came out.
That's Wayne and T.I.'s daughters groups, right? Okay, got you.
Well, Reginae she was in the original group when it was just like the 4 of them, and then they replaced 2 of the group members with 1 person. So it ended up just being T.I.'s daughter, Zanique, and then, T.I. and Tiny's daughter, Zanique. What was it? Beauty. That was her name in the group. And then Bree. So, I mean, I think that was like, what's it called? Like the Scream Tour era?
DJ Scream?
I think that's what they would consider it.
That make a lot of sense. A lot of people don't give DJ... Shout out to DJ Scream, by the way. Shout out to Big Facts, because there's definitely a podcast that I watch, and I'm very entertained by. I don't think people understand how much DJ Scream did for, like, the youth of Atlanta during that time. Yeah, like them, Rich Kids... I think had Scream tapes.
Oh, how did I forget about Rich Kids? Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Rich Kids, Lady Rich Kids, Bandit Game, Marco.
Yeah, all of them. All of them. And like I said, Scream...
Lotto was out.
I had a Scream tape, right?
Huh?
Did Lotto have a Scream tape?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Okay, but I'm talking about like as far as the youth in Atlanta during like that '08 to like
Oh yeah.
2011 period.
Everybody, Travis Porter.
Yeah, they definitely had Scream tapes.
We
yeah.
thought we were so grown. Oh my goodness.
Got you. So what do you remember most about that era? Because I feel like because you had Gucci and T.I. and Jeezy, you know what I'm saying, taking over the nation with the trap music and the trap sound. What do you remember about that era? Like that kid, not that kid era in Atlanta, but like that, you know, like that era of Atlanta. Because I feel like that era of Atlanta is criminally underrated.
I'm a huge fan of that era.
Okay.
I think it's kind of by default though, because my stepfather listened to a lot of Gucci. He listened to a lot of Gucci, but he did listen to Jeezy too. But he listened to a lot of Gucci, and I also feel like when I would go to school, or I would be like in any type of after school programs, or just like meeting other people my age. A lot of them listened to Gucci too, and it wasn't because of the music; it was because they loved his look. They loved his style.
He was so gangster.
They loved his music videos, like the Lemonade music video. I remember everybody
With
just
all the
like
yellow?
playing that on their cell phone at recess and just watching it, like, you know. So like he influenced people not just like musically, but like
Stylistically
as well. Who was T.I.? I know a lot of people love T.I. Like kids would come to school like with they hat
The
tip.
hat to the side.
They would come to school with their hat tipped to the side.
Yeah.
Like they thought, like, I'm talking about like the boys at the school, like they thought they was T.I.
Yeah, T.I. was different for that. Oh.
Yeah, and I think like with T.I., I like the fact that a lot of people don't realize, but he always included the kids in his videos. So he automatically got like the vote from our generation because he was so like for the people. Like all his videos were kind of like shot in the neighborhood, or it was on the stairwell, or it was like, you know, like he had kids around him. He had the youth around him, basically. So it was like his videos were very like community focused and community like. So I think that kind of like made people gravitate towards him more because it was like, oh, he just like us.
Yeah.
Versus like Gucci, you can't, you know, as a kid, you can't really relate, but you think he's cool. But we couldn't really just say like, oh yeah, I'm in here whipping up, you know. Like, no, we was not. So yeah, I think that. And then Jeezy, I think Jeezy made a lot of like, I mean, he said himself like motivational type of music.
Yeah, I mean his album series, TM
Thug Motivation,
Thug
yeah.
Motivation, yeah.
I would say them some classics.
I'd have to agree. I mean, I'm a Gucci fan. You know, out of the three of them, I rock with T.I. You know,
Are you asking me to pick?
yeah, I mean, you can. Like
are you pitting them against each other?
Nah, I mean, you know, everybody has preferences. Like I said, I feel like overall, because Jeezy had to deal with Def Jam, if I'm not mistaken, or I just say Jeezy was signed to a major.
Oh, I love
You know, I feel like Jeezy really, you know, when he had BMF backing him.
Yeah,
I feel like, you know,
because he was with, like Blue Da Vinci and
Blue Da Vinci and Meech and all them. So because he had them backing him, I feel like, you know, you give Jeezy was the one, you know, eventually he signed that record deal, and then, which I believe it was Def Jam if I'm not mistaken. He signed that record deal, and then, you know, he drops that first album, and then bam, it goes everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Hit after hit after hit. Meanwhile, you know, I think T.I. came out with trap music in 2004, but then 2003, I think, was trap music, and I think Urban Legend followed in 2005. So, you know, T.I. dibbled and dabbled with the trap music in 2003, but by the time he got to like King and Urban Legend and, you know, No Mercy and T.I. versus T.I.P., you know, I don't want to say it was more commercial, but it wasn't necessarily as, you know, deeply rooted in the trap.
It was commercial.
Okay, if you want to call it commercial, we could do that. You know, I feel like it was T.I.'s real life. You know, people grow, people change. You know, they experience different things, but I can respect that. And then, you know, Gucci was who he was. I mean, you know, the first album is called Trap House. The second album is called Back to the Trap House. So Sam, excuse me, before I get to Sam. You know what's going on, y'all? Now we on to the segment of the show called Put On or Put Out, where we rate hip-hop fashion. So essentially how this is going to work is that I have a couple of printouts here of a couple of different rappers and some of their best fits, I would assume, since a lot of these are on the red carpet. And I'm going to show our lovely guest, Samara, you know what I'm saying, what they have on. And she is either going to say put on if the artist properly executed the fit, or put out if she's not feeling the fit, if the fit does not go together. Sam, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Got you. So first off, Sam, we have Kodak Black at the BET Awards. You can hold it. Kodak Black at the BET Awards. Looks like some kind of matching green designer, like fuzzy suit. I don't really know quite what to call that.
You know what? It's like corduroy.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of corduroy.
Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna put it on. I'd have a shirt underneath it, of course, but I put this on. He just look like, like a little Rick James outfit. It's giving. Yeah, I put it on.
So put on for Kodak?
Put it on. Put on Kodak.
Okay, you can just flip it over and just, yeah, there you go. All right, next up, we got Houston royalty in the building. Lil Flip. One Lil Flip, somebody I credit, with the Jersey era of rap music. Kim, Nelly, Cameron, Master P. There's a couple others. Fabulous.
Dipset.
Yeah, Dipset, but I credit Flip as well with the Jersey era. How we feeling about an ode to old Houston?
During this era?
Yeah, during that era. Did he put it on or did he put it out? It depends on however you want to grade it. How do we feel about Flip?
He put on. What kind of shoes is it?
I wish I could tell you.
I don't know. He put on.
He put
definitely put on. I definitely like the chains, too. Like that 4-leaf clover is hard.
All right, Sam. So next up, we got Wayne, Lil Wayne. I believe that this was 2013, if I'm not mistaken. Sporting a pair, from what I believe, I was told those are women's jeggings with a Louis Vuitton belt and some Vans. And of course, I believe Wayne is kind of one of the people who made being shirtless cool. How we feel about Wayne's fit?
You want to know something, though? Wayne has always been, like, one of my favorite fashion people.
In hip-hop?
Yeah.
I would definitely consider Wayne a fashion icon.
And a lot of people don't, but I do, because I feel like he took that skater... that skater personality,
yep.
and I'm not gonna say he took it because he didn't appropriate it. That's really who he is.
Yeah.
But
Wayne's a legit skateboarder.
He merged it with hip hop the best, I feel like. I know Lupe Fiasco, like he did some skater stuff like in Kid Cudi, but as far as fashion goes, I would give it to Wayne, especially during that era, because especially when everybody's wearing like skinny jeans and stuff like that. Like I just
Truck
feel
fit.
like Truck fit.
That was
He made Truck fit hot.
Yeah, that was his thing. I don't know if they still sell it anymore, but that was definitely Wayne's thing.
I would definitely put on, and I like the patterns. Like I like the fact that he's not afraid to play with patterns. So he can get away with this.
So Wayne put on?
He put on.
Shout out to Wayne, one of the greatest of all time. Salute to Weezy. Hold on. Gotta go with this one. I think I took it out of order. Next up, we got Pimp C on the shoot of the I Choose You video.
Oh, he definitely put on. You ain't even got to show me that picture.
With the white mink.
You ain't even got to show me.
With the matching white hat.
You ain't even got to show me. If I don't ever get married, y'all, this gonna be me. I promise you. I'm gonna get me a suit. I'm gonna go take it to a real designer and be like, listen, recreate this outfit for me. And I'm gonna marry myself.
Marry yourself? Okay. I respect it.
He definitely put on.
Okay, so Pimp put on for that one.
He put on.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that is an iconic moment, iconic fashion moment in hip hop. Yeah.
That all white.
From the head to the toe, especially at
the ice.
Yeah. And just that verse that he spit, my bitch, you choose it, lover, never fuck without a rubber. Yeah. You can't take nothing away from Pimp on that one. That's one of the, okay. Driver, compressor, top notch hoes, get the most, not the less.
Okay.
So Pimp put on that one. Actually, that's, I got to speak on that. That's one of the, I ain't gonna say the few, but one of the rare times in hip hop where everything just worked.
Yeah.
The video, the song, the production, who was featured in the video between, 3 6 Mafia and Outkast.
You want to know something, though?
What's up?
That I think is very interesting. Not just like the labels, because I don't even think we got to that, but the music video directors. So like Hype Williams, and then like, who was it, Benny Boone?
Yeah.
Like, they just had more, I don't know, creativity.
I'd agree.
It wasn't just, like, standing around. It was, like, it was almost like a movie production sometimes. So, I think that's kind of, like, underrated.
Okay.
Unappreciated.
Bet. I'm going to have to include that into the show now, actually, now that you mentioned that. So, appreciate
You're
that,
welcome.
Sam. Always coming through. Next up, we kicking it back down to Florida, and we got Plies. I don't really know what's going on in this outfit.
Now Mr. ran off on the plug twice.
He looked like he ran on the plug 3 times with this fit. Like I said, I don't really know what to call this outfit, but I'm gonna let you be the judge of that. Did Plies put on, or do he need to be put out?
Plies, baby, I love you. What are you doing? What is this?
Show body. Oh, shit.
What is this?
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
With the gold shoes?
Yeah, that might be cultural appropriation, but...
He done appropriated like 50 different cultures. He got a sombrero. He got a Met Gala. Like,
Sam, is it put on or is it put out? I've never seen anything like that before. That is definitely a true ode to Florida. No disrespect to people from Florida, but Florida and Texas do things just a tad bit differently.
He definitely need to get put the fuck out.
Put the fuck out?
The fuck
Lord,
out.
have mercy. So put out for Plies.
Plies, baby, I still love you, But he put out. He got put out. But,
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm not even gonna ask you now. Now, back to Atlanta. Definitely free this young man because he's been locked up for far too long. But how we feeling about Rollo? The all pink champion sweatsuit.
Wow.
With
now
the
she
pink
brought out
Kango.
Rollo.
I rock with
First
Rollo.
of all, Rollo didn't be dressing. He be dressing. Put on.
I ain't mad.
He definitely put on.
Put on with the fit.
Free Rollo, by the way.
No.
By the way.
I'm
gone.
I'm gonna say this. I also think too, when we talk about people from Atlanta that's really fashion icons, I really got to give Rollo his credit because like when he used to pull up with the Davy Crockett raccoon hat with the raccoon tail,
Yes.
I've never in my life seen anybody wear that. And
With the shades on.
With the shades on. I gotta give Fam Goon his credit, but definitely free Rollo. Rollo, we miss you. Come home soon, yo. Matter of fact, I think he home. I think he home soon. I think he home real soon.
He gotta be.
Yeah, I
Jeez.
think he about to be released to a halfway house soon. So definitely free the Fam Goon, free Rollo. Next up, back to the west side of Atlanta, Bankhead, if I'm not mistaken. How we feeling about Shorty Low, Mr. Dun Dun? How we feeling about Shorty Low? Did he put on or did he put out?
For this era, he put on.
I feel like you could wear that now. Maybe,
You feel like you can wear it now?
I don't know, Monty, what you think?
I would wear it now. I
Show
just
money.
wouldn't wear the T-shirt. The Tiger T-shirt
Show money, please.
throws off for me.
Can you wear that now? Maybe if the fitting's a little bit differently, but could you work with that or not? Not at all? Okay. No? Well, how we feeling about Shorty Low, the late, great Shorty Low? Shorty Low put on or do he need to be put out?
Now I do rock with Shawty Low.
Mr.
And
Dun Dun.
Also rest in peace to him.
Definitely.
I'm gonna have to put this one out
Okay.
just for the simple fact that I don't like the T-shirt
Mhm.
because it's giving me like, I don't know. It's like New York meets Atlanta meets underground neo soul coffee shop. On Thursday nights they do poetry. So I'm just
Wait,
rest
what?
in peace. Rest in peace. You feel me?
But rest in peace, Mr. Dun Dun. Definitely. R.I.P. to Shorty Low. Next up, kicking it down to Texas, Houston, Texas to be exact. Slim Thug at the Dirty South Honors Hip Hop Awards. Hosted by VH1. How we feeling about Slim
gosh.
Thug? Slim Thug, motherfucker.
It's the Dirty South Honors Awards
Yeah.
to me.
How we feeling about Slim Thug? With Slim Thug, did he put on or did he put out?
I'm gonna say he put on. He
Put
kept it
on?
simple. He got a plain white T-shirt. His jeans are crisp,
Yeah, them things is crisp now.
and he got some reasonable shoes on.
Reasonable? Wait, what? I ain't never in my life ever heard nobody say.
What you mean?
describe
They
some-
reasonable. They not irrational. It's rational. He made a rational decision. He made a very reasonable decision. I can understand the outfit. It's not crazy. Now, if we bring up Plies, I don't understand that. That's not reasonable. You don't have a reason to have a cape on a fur two-piece. Like, this is reasonable.
Okay.
I can go anywhere in this.
Okay. So Slim the Thug put on? Slim,
put on.
Put some Thug put on? Bet. Shout out to Slim Thug. Definitely. Shout out to the whole Houston. Next up, back to Atlanta. You know, A lot of this looked like it was some cool. You know what I'm saying? So he was putting off his brand. But how do we feel about T.I. at the 2014 BET Hip Hop Awards?
Oh, Tip.
Please show money real fast. Damn.
Okay. So this is what I would say. I just first I'll put out. It's getting put out because I do feel like this was like a moment for like, you know, some type of product placement type of moment. He on the red carpet. He's at the award show. He wants to promote his brand. I understand that. But I think like a simple plain jeans maybe would have worked for this.
Okay.
Or even some Amiri jeans would have worked with this.
Okay.
But and people can play around with patterns, but with this shirt, it wasn't meant for patterns to be played around with. And he just, the camouflage with the plaid is kind of insane. I've never seen camouflage and plaid together before.
Oh, it's falling. Oh, man.
I've never seen nothing like this in my life. What I will say is I like the shoes, and that's the crazy part. The shoes and the shirt, I love them together. All he had to do was change the pants and lose the socks.
Change the pants or lose the socks?
Change the pants and lose the socks. But, you know, as he say, he got flav. I think this the flav. I feel like sometimes, and this is no disrespect to Tip, I think sometimes when men get older, I think they still want to keep up with the current generation.
Okay.
So they try to like do their own style with like a pop of whatever they think is hot right now.
Okay.
Like I don't think he ran this by his kids first.
He ran it by Damani?
He got 20 kids. He did not run this. He didn't run this by not one kid.
Okay.
He could ask Damani. He could ask Messiah. He could ask Deja. He could ask Zanique.
It's very impressive that you know
He could ask King.
his children.
He could. Well, I went to school with some. of them.
Shout out to them. Okay.
But he could have asked Major. He could. I don't think Eris was born here, but yeah, he didn't run this by his kids. I bet you when the money seen this, he was like that. You know, I don't know. I'm gonna put this one out.
All right, Sam. Next up, definitely free this young man, but we have the what is it? I used to like to call him the rap weirdo, but I mean this man is an absolute trailblazer, an icon, not only when it comes to fashion, but when it comes to music and when it comes to Atlanta, what he means to the city. Definitely free Jeffrey Lamar Williams, aka Young Thug. But how are we feeling, Sam? Young Thug at the Grammys on the red carpet. How are we feeling about Young Thug's outfit? Because Young Thug, out of everybody in Atlanta, I think probably has definitely the most interesting and unique sense of fashion.
He definitely does. I mean, one of his album covers, he had on a dress.
He called it a quilt.
He had on a quilt.
Mm-hmm. Jeffrey, fire album, by the way.
And that hat he had on was given like a Japanese.
Yeah, like Raiden from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Definitely highly influential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So first off, I think Thug is a fashion icon.
Oh, without a doubt.
Say he is.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely pushes the boundaries. Even with this.
I wouldn't even say pushes. I would say exceeds.
Okay, he exceeds.
Mm-hmm. I would say exceeds the boundaries. Sorry, I mean to correct you, but Thug's out there.
I'm going to say put on. And this is why I'm going to say put on.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, this is a smooth outfit.
Yeah, with the cape?
The cape, even, it's giving me.
It works.
Right.
Like only he can do that.
Not everybody can pull this off now. But it's giving me like a hip hop Count Dracula.
Okay.
Like
my biggest thing with this fit is the shoes.
The shoes, right? Like why he didn't use like maybe like some brown feet. I don't know. But this is what I'll say. This so fire, I don't even care about that. To be honest.
Facts. Yeah.
Like just the suit itself, like I could see like it's smooth. Like his pants, they were iron.
And them shoes really make the outfit memorable.
They make the outfit memorable.
Yeah.
And I like the cape. The cape it reminds me of like Count Dracula.
Showing money. How do we feel about Young Thug?
That may have been what he was going for.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh. So Sam, Doug put on or is he put out?
He put on.
Put on?
He put on.
Definitely. And what is it? It's free who?
Free Thugger.
Definitely. Free Thug. We miss you, homie. Land ain't been the same without you. Bet. So Thug, put on. Next up, we kicking it back to the 90s. We're going back down to Florida. Uncle Luke from 2 Live Crew. Young Uncle Luke. The only man to win twice in the Supreme Court for music copyright laws. One of the most influential. Sam? Did he put on or put out? Uncle Luke.
He put on.
Okay.
This
Classic Miami starter jacket.
Yeah, he got the classic jacket, the chains. It's not too much. It's like just right. The jeans, the jeans. I can't really see the shoes, but they white, so I felt like they pair well. I would say he put on.
Put on?
Yeah.
Gotcha. So Uncle Luke, put on. Next up.
That velvet starter.
Next up, going back to Florida, giving Kodak another chance to make sure that he put on. We already said he put on before, but how you feel about young Kodak? Young Kodak, I believe that was the XXL freshman cover shoot.
I'm gonna put this out.
Put it out? Damn.
Because he could have put it on if he would have chose like to either do without the socks or do without the socks and change the shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I think the socks really threw it out. I don't know what's up with them and socks. Like they just like to slap socks on. We just saw one with Tip and he had them crazy ass plaid socks with them camouflage pants on. I'm not understanding what's going on with these socks, but I'm gonna put this out simply because I don't feel like he should have socks on.
Okay, so he should go barefoot with the Sperry's?
Either barefoot with the Sperry's or change that whole foot. Change the foot.
Change the foot?
Yeah.
Okay, so change the shoes.
Yeah.
Okay. I bet. So Kodak Black, phenomenal rapper, but in that shoot, you wasn't feeling the fit. Next up, man, this photo has so much nostalgia. Like I said, once again, I rest in peace to Shorty Low. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to OJ the Juice Man. But I want to focus on the man in the middle, young Gucci Man. Looked like back in 2006, 2007.
It definitely has to be because Brick Squad was together.
How we feeling about Gucci? How we feeling about Gucci's fit? The Jordan 9s with the Dickie shorts rather, with the Brick Squad tee, and of course the jewelry game always crazy.
He put on.
Gucci put on?
They all put on.
They all put on.
Shawty Low put on the best to me.
Okay, Shawty Low. Okay, so Shawty Low redeemed himself from last time.
Yeah.
Okay.
He put on.
Gucci put on. What you like about the fit? They just go
I
together?
like the fact that it just color coordinates. It's simple. It matches. You know, he got a red and white shirt on, black pants with a red Dickie emblem, and then he got red, white, and black shoes. Like,
okay.
It ain't nothing wrong with it to me.
Bet. So Gucci, Shawty Low, and OJ all put on.
They all put on.
Man, shout out to some of the early innovators of the Atlanta trap sound. Next up, oh my God, Jesus. Wow. I could explain this photo, but I just love the fact that every single member of the early Cash Money days is on here. Sam, how we feeling about the early Cash Money days? The big tall white tees when I take the Jabot jeans and the Cash Money emblem chains. Sam, the Cash Money as a label taking over for the 99 and the 2000s. Do they put on or do they need to be put out?
They put on. I mean, in my opinion, it's kind of like the last picture. Like the plain white tee, I don't feel like you can go wrong with a plain white tee.
Yeah,
like,
I'm with you. I wear one to this day.
If you can fuck up a plain white tee, then I don't know what to tell you. Something wrong with you. But I think this is, and then their chains wasn't too big. It was like a simple rectangle, plain white T-shirt, black jeans. It looked like black jeans. Mm-hmm. Some of them had hats on. Well, all of them got hats on. Mm-hmm. What's most notable, I guess, in the outfit would be the scarf around Wayne's hand, and then the scarf around BG's neck. I would say they put on. They kept it simple: white tees, watches, and chains.
Mm-hmm. So put on for Cash Money?
Put on.
Man, Shad, this is one of the most legendary photos of all time at the Source Hip Hop Music Awards, and almost everybody in here is a platinum selling artist.
They need to bring the Source Awards back.
Man, I miss Cash Money. Free BG. Definitely free BG. Shout out to Slim and Bird. Next up, oh my, Memphis Royalty. The second Memphis hip hop act to get, or excuse me, the first Memphis group to get a record deal, but the second overall act behind Gangsta Pat. Premro 8-Ball Smith and Marlon Jermaine Godwin, also known as MJG. Sam, the Memphis Royalty, some of the pioneers of crunk, some of the early inventors of Southern gangster rap, early innovators of Southern gangster rap. Did they put on or did they put out, Sam?
Put out.
Damn.
I like the fact that I'll give them this. I like the white Air Force Ones. I do like the crisp jeans. They was very much iron. But this is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna put on for because I don't like the plaid for real. I guess if you're a plaid person, it would work. But because I'm just personally not a plaid person, it don't work for me. But if I was, I would say he put on because there's nothing wrong with his outfit. I just personally don't like plaid.
All right. So you said it don't work because you personally don't like plaid?
Yeah. And then for 8-Ball, I can't tell if I like it or not.
Hold on, show it to Body. Body, what we thinking for 8-Ball? 8-Ball is the... Body, I take it that face means neither? Okay. How'd you? Monty, what's wrong with
We're
it?
going to put this out overall.
8, MJG, know I love y'all. Make some of my favorite hip-hop music of all time, but Sam not rocking with the fit. Next up, one to me, maybe the most underrated fashion icon in all of hip-hop. Previously known as Titty Boy. How do we feel about 2 Chainz at the Hawks game?
That's my boy.
Yeah, I rock with 2. A lot of people don't give 2 his credit. 2 Chainz is really
2
a boss
Chainz one of the flyest ones. Him and Monica, one of the flyest ones in Atlanta to me.
Okay. I respect that. Shout out Monica.
He definitely put on.
2 Chainz put on at the Hawks game?
He put on.
Okay.
I love this jacket.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. A quilt jacket. It look like a quilt jacket.
Like when we talk about best dressed rappers, I feel like we don't mention him enough.
We don't. And that's only because he's just been like laying low.
Yeah, I think also too because a lot of people look at 2 Chainz and you know what I'm saying? Like I think 2 Chainz is like in his 40s and hip hop is a young man's game. So I think that they really sleep on him. Next up, Kodak again. Look like some very orange everything. Some very expensive orange designer bags, Sperry's with the orange Sniper Gang jumpsuit. I mean, not jumpsuit. With the orange Sniper Gang sweatsuit. How we feeling about
He put
Kodak?
on.
Kodak put on?
He definitely put on.
Okay.
I'll tell you why he put on. He put on because the shade of orange.
Shade of orange?
It's like a creamy type of orange. Like,
Okay.
It's just, like it's like when you get your nails done. Like this ain't a pink. It's a creamy type of pink.
Okay.
So I like the fact that it's not like like that, like that orange that just be like,
Okay.
that
just speak to you?
Yeah, that just speaks to you. This is like, it's more like a subtle type of orange. Like it was mixed with white. Like if you mix orange and white, like yeah. So I like the shade that he chose. I also feel like surprisingly the Sperry's went well together.
Okay.
I've never really seen Sperry's in a sweatsuit together though.
Okay.
It does not look bad on him though.
Okay.
I like the chains. The book bags is cool. The duffel bag is cool. I put on.
Put on for Kodak?
I put on for Kodak.
Shout out to Kodak. All right, nearing towards the end. This is Lil Wayne. This had to be recently. I could just tell because I feel like I see the new face tattoos. It's a lot going on here, but how do we feel about Tune?
You know what it is? It's the background.
The background?
I feel like maybe if he was like against like a white background or all black background, it would have really like kind of brought the outfit out more. But because it's like they put him up in the air, it just looks crazy. He looked like a fucking superhero from Holly Grove.
Oh, wow. Shout out Holly Grove. So how we feel about Wade? He put on or he put out, Sal?
I would say he put on. It's just that the palm trees on the pants at the bottom is kind of throwing me off.
You said palm trees?
Yeah, you didn't see that?
Oh, no, I did not.
Yeah, the palm trees is kind of throwing me off a little bit because it's like you got this big jacket on like you in New York, but your pants is so Miami.
With them boots
And then you got these Alaska boots on. So it's like, I'm not sure how to feel. Oh, and it's a bathing ape coat.
Yeah, that's rare. I ain't never even knew they made coats. I know they made like bubble jackets and raincoats, but I never seen them make one like that.
I will put out, but before I put out, I'm gonna take that jacket and put it on.
Okay. So Wayne put out overall, but you rocking with the jacket.
Yeah, I'm rocking with the jacket.
Lastly, bringing it back to Zone 6 East Atlanta, we got the legend Guwap. Don't quite know what's going on, but how we feeling about Gucci's fit?
You're gonna play that shit again. I don't know. I don't know when I stopped liking plaid, but please. I'll say this. I like this outfit if the shoes was a solid color.
Okay.
It's actually not a bad outfit. I kind of like it. It's giving me like he's in Miami.
Sam, is it put on or is it put out?
Let me see. I'm gonna put it on.
You gonna put that on for Gucci?
I'm gonna put it on.
Got you. I bet. Well, anyways, y'all, Sam, definitely always appreciate your participation. Thank you so much for your anecdotes.
You're welcome.
Real quick, so I know you yeah, you're funny. So I know you mentioned earlier, you said that one of your favorite eras was the OMG girls, Rich Kids, I forgot a couple of the name of the other people. Travis Porter. That was one of your favorite eras in Atlanta. I personally feel like that era really gets overshadowed a lot by what came before it with Gucci, Jeezy, and T.I., and then what came after it with Thug and Pee Wee and 21 and all them. Could you talk about your experiences growing up in Atlanta at that time with the Scream tapes and Lex Luger coming out, the Waka Flocka Flame was out at that time?
Oh, God.
Like, can you talk about like what it was living in Atlanta at that time?
All the way back.
Yeah.
All right, let me go back into my little memory box. So boom, we listening to like Waka, like you said. Oh, Let's Do It had just came out.
Yeah.
No Hands that just came out. Until today, that No Hands is still played in a lot of functions that you go to.
Definitely.
Especially like colleges. Like colleges, they'll never stop playing that song. So that whole era was definitely influential. Like Roscoe Dash. Who else was on there? Wale was on there, but he's from
Wale
DMV.
from DC. Yeah.
Who else was out? Travis Porter.
Yeah.
Rich Kids.
OMG girls, you said.
Lady Rich Kids. OMG Girls. OMG Girls kind of like did like a big number on Atlanta. I'm gonna just say Atlanta, and I'm gonna say like southern states.
How so?
I would say because that era, like, there was not a lot of like groups out. So you know how like I always compare it to like my mom's era. They had NSYNC. They had Destiny's Child. They had TLC. They had SWV. They had a lot of groups basically.
And your mom, just so for the listeners, your mom's era is like the mid to late 90s.
80s and 90s.
80s and 90s. Okay, late 80s or late 80s, pretty much throughout the 90s.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
got
yes,
you.
yes.
All right, continue. I'm sorry.
So it was kind of like a remembrance of that era, like what it meant to really just be like a pop group or whatever. And when I say pop, I'm not talking about like mainstream music. I'm talking about like just popular and just like, oh, you got like a poster of Mind's Behavior on your wall. Like that whole fan craze type of thing. Yes. So the Screen tour was like OMG Girls and Mind's Behavior, and I think like Tyga was probably on it, or Lil Twist. I know Lil Twist was on there.
Yeah,
Jacob
Young Money
Lattimore
was popping at that time.
Jacob
yeah.
Lattimore was really popping. Who else was it? It was a lot of them.
Yeah, it was like the young nigga era in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Young person era. You know what I'm saying? Like, because everybody was anywhere between the age of like 14 to like
right,
maybe even 18, you know what I'm saying? 18, 19. So it was just a real young time in Atlanta. And it was a lot of young, up in like Mindless Behavior at one point. I believe they were like superstars.
Yeah.
At least in Atlanta.
They were.
Know? Yeah.
And I wouldn't even just say that. I think Mind's Behavior went way further
Beyond
outside
Atlanta?
of
Atlanta?
Georgia. Just for some
I can admit that, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, like they were kind of like a like nostalgic almost from like those 90s groups that used to be like very popular, and you would always be like, oh, like trying to choose the person in the group you wanted to be, or choose the person in the group that you wanted to date, like, oh, that's my boyfriend, like that whole like craze type of area. And I think like fashion wise, they influenced a lot of girls. Like a lot of girls started dyeing their hair purple and pink and yellow, and this was before Nicki, so I can speak just for like the Atlanta area. Like before Nicki, people wanted pink hair. People wanted the tutus and stuff. Like
you credit the OMG girls with
and
that.
then like and then the whole, what's it called? The Converse. They used to come all the way up to our knees.
Oh, I'm so glad we out of that era.
Oh my God.
Oh, wee.
I had some.
That era was I had
some black ones with some purple butterflies. Yes, I used to love them shoes.
I'm not mad at you, Sam. I had some very questionable outfit choices back in my day, too.
I used to love them. And then we used to have like these big old bows in our hair.
Yep, I remember that era.
We used to have like these seashell necklaces. Like, it was a crazy time. It was like Facebook era.
Yeah, that was damn near MySpace when you really think about it. You go back to it. So, yeah, that era. So, you was a fan of that era. Now, real quick, because I don't want to make sure that we leave this era, but the era that kind of coincided with that one, as I said before, because I don't know if the camera cut it off, was the T.I., the Jeezy, and the Gucci era, Atlanta trap era. So, I always said, T.I., he was the first one with a deal because, he came out with, trap music, his sophomore album in 2003. Which, he claims that, that's when he started, this trap music era in Atlanta. Then after that, he had Urban Legend, and he had T.I. versus T.I.P., and then he had, King, and those, people say more commercial. That's fair. Like, I know you feel that way, but, sometimes people grow, and, you got a different bag to chase sometimes.
I can admit that.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
So he had that era. So then you got Jeezy. Jeezy, is backed by BMF. Jeezy is backed by, he's backed by BMF. Jeezy's backed by, Jeezy's backed by BMF, and then he eventually goes and he signs a deal with Def Jam, and then, his debut album is just hit after hit after hit.
Yeah.
So, Jeezy oftentimes gets credit for a lot of what was going on within the trap music sound, because, Come Shop With Me sold 50,000 copies independently. And then you got Gucci, my personal favorite, as, which is no secret to anybody. Then you have Gucci, and, Gucci, what is that? I don't necessarily know when Gucci got a major deal, but I remember, he released, Trap House, which I think he did on Big Cat Records. He had that album, and then, that album was definitely, very influential as far as, the trap music era in Atlanta. Then, he got back to the trap, which I believe was his debut album, or his sophomore album, and I think that one was done with Atlantic. But, Gucci to me really had the underground and the streets as far as trap. I felt like T.I. definitely introduced the word, introduced the thought of, what trap it actually was. And then Jeezy, really was the show that, okay, this could have a lot of commercial success. How do you feel about that era and those three in particular?
Okay, well, I'm gonna start with Tip. So
Okay.
With Tip, it was more so like, and this is just like from my personal experience. He was more so like, how do you say it? Like somebody that we could relate to more. That's how I put it. And when I say us, I'm talking about the youth.
Okay.
Just for the simple fact that, and I'm not sure if this was intentional along the way, and I feel like it probably was, but he included a lot of the youth in his videos. Like, if you go back to his earlier videos, it's kids all in his videos. It's a lot of videos that's shot in his, on the West Side. It's a lot of videos that's, shot while he's like on the road or like going somewhere. Like he always includes some type of aspect of the youth in his videos. So I kind of felt like he was more so for the community. And I felt like he wanted to push himself to be like a voice almost. So do I think he started it? I would have to agree with you. I think he spread it. And I think he did help commercialize it, definitely. And like I said, when I was in school, fashion came from music videos. So when Tip would have his hat to the side, like you gonna see boys in school with their hat to the side because they wanted to be like him. They wanted to imitate him. They looked up to him in a way. So I would say he did a great job of that because, he had like the youth very influenced by him.
Okay.
And then Jeezy was more like motivational type of music for me. Like, he has albums, Thug Motivation.
Yeah.
So I think he even knows it. So that was his obvious, clear intention. Like, I'm going to motivate people that's doing
hustlers.
Yeah, I'm going to motivate them, which I actually admire. That's an aspect that I do admire about Jeezy because I feel like you need that motivation. And I feel like it was actually like early manifestation in a way.
Yeah.
Like his words and his lyrics, like he was telling people like, listen, you can do X, Y, and Z and do this and do that and whatnot. Versus where I feel like Gucci, it was more so like, nigga, this is what I do. This is who I am.
Yeah.
This is what I wear. These the bitches I'm fucking. And hey, this is who I am. It wasn't, I don't feel like he was just trying to like raise nobody kid or trying to be like, oh, I want to push rap history forward and stuff like that. I think he was just more so like, there are other people out there like me, and it's just like, it is what it is. Like, this is our reality. This is what I do.
Yeah.
And while he did it, he was fly.
Yeah.
He was very much a style icon in Atlanta, at least, and in the South. I know that for a fact because, like I said, a lot of the stuff that we mimicked was from the music videos. That's the only visual that we had.
Certainly.
So when I remember the Lemonade video coming out, and it was like, it was gray and just yellow. And that, like, really, like, piqued our interest because it was different.
Yeah. I used to watch that video religiously.
Yeah, so, and even the cars that he had in the video. But outside of the materialistic aspect, I feel like Gucci did a really good job at being himself.
Yep.
And that's how he was the most influential because he didn't have to, like, sit up there and be like, oh, well, I want to, do this for the kids and I want to do this for the community. Like, he was just more so like, I'm wearing this. I got the trap house right behind me. Like, he was just, it was reality.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't something that could be, made up.
Yeah, now that's definitely an interesting point. I always say, like, with Gucci, like, out of the three of them, I'm Gucci. I'm rocking with Gucci by far. Like I said, I respect the...
I'm with my birthday twin.
There you go. But anyways, I rock with Gucci, you know what I'm saying, by far more than the other two, even though I respect what they did as far as for Atlanta within the music industry. I always thought the thing, too, with Gucci was that, and, I don't know how you feel about this, but when it comes to that early trap music, I don't feel like anybody really goes into as much detail as Gucci.
Yeah.
Like, I think, to me, probably the greatest trap song written that ever come out of Atlanta is Swing My Dough by Gucci.
I like put the pounds in my
You do the dishes, don't nobody fuck with my kitchen. Yeah, My Kitchen is another one too.
That's my favorite.
But you see what I'm saying? The detail that Gucci rapped about,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, the trap. And Jeezy did it to a certain extent too, but I just felt like because Gucci was just so underground and Gucci was just focused on making, the hardest
was doing
music.
it every day.
And because he was doing it every day, he really did. Well, I'm sure Jeezy had his dealings in the street too. I don't want to speak on that, but I'm sure Jeezy either was around people or had enough experience to be able to do it the way, to be able to rap about it from an intelligent standpoint. But like I said, Gucci, when he did this trap music, it was painterly. And he was always inspired by gangster music. Like I remember I read his book, at least his first one. I didn't read the second one. Yeah, I'm halfway through it. But I remember he was just saying how, he was so inspired by like Memphis because he was like, man, I heard all these dudes making all this gangster music. And he was like, Project Pat was like my favorite rapper. And when I wanted to be a rapper, I wanted my lyrics to be true to what I was doing. And, You know, I definitely feel like Gucci really capitalized off of that, and authenticity is what has carried him thus far, as far as in his music career.
Right, and I feel like that's also the distinction between those three. That's why I kind of say, like, I feel like T.I. spread it.
Yep.
You know, and he had more of, like I said, a community aspect to his. And then Jeezy was more so focused on motivation.
Yeah.
Like, hey, yeah, you doing this, but nigga, it don't end here.
Yeah.
Like, you, after this, you have to find something else. Like,
Yeah.
you got to take this money and go do something else with it. And then Gucci, he was just like very much detailed about it. Very much like, this is what I do on a regular basis. This is what I do from sun up to sundown, you know, and I mean, he went on to be a great businessman in my opinion, but I just feel like as far as trap music goes, he, like you said, he was the one that kind of like went into detail about it, but he's also more like raw.
Yeah.
You know, like you can tell that Jeezy is more politically correct. And you could tell, like, Tip over time, he just, you know, especially because he's more of a family type of man, he's always been about the community. So eventually he stopped talking about that stuff.
Yeah.
Eventually he started collabing with Rihanna and collabing with Chris Brown. And, like, you know, like he wasn't talking about that stuff no more.
Yeah, and to me, I'm sorry to cut you off, but T.I.'s best work to me was, Paper Trail? When he got away from that, when he was more influential, when he, you know, songs like Live Your Life with Rihanna and, you know, My Life, Your Entertainment. And, you know, to me, I mean, I think that's T.I.'s best selling album. I think it's triple or quadruple platinum. So I would have to agree with you. Like, you know, I salute T.I. for what he did as far as how the influence he does have within trap music. But I definitely have to agree with you. He was, he was definitely more, he definitely made his best music, I feel like, outside of the trap landscape.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he outgrew it. This is the last thing I'll say about it. I think Tip outgrew it quicker than they did. Because
I ain't gonna lie, I don't think Gucci really ever outgrew it. I mean, you still listen to a lot of his. I mean, not to say Gucci hasn't grown as a man or as a person. I'm not trying to disrespect at all, but
he was okay.
Gucci still got some hard ass lyrics.
He do. I feel like he was the first one to start to lean off of it. You see what I'm saying? Like, or he was pretty much the only one to, because even in Jeezy's last album, it was called Entrepreneur or something like that. But you know, he was still talking about it here and there. But even then, he wasn't really talking about it.
Yeah.
So I just feel like with Tip, it was more so like I said, I feel like it was a family move.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think he wanted to continue to talk about the same shit he was talking about in 2002, and he got, you know, boys growing up under him and stuff like that. Even though they can go back and look on that, I just feel like it was more of a strategic move than anything.
So yeah, Sam. So I mean, as you said before, T.I. was more of you felt like it was more of a family reason as to why he stepped away from it, and he eventually just, you know, kind of got pushed out of it. He went on to making different music, great music nonetheless.
You gotta grow up.
Yes, okay. Jeezy, you said that when it comes to him, it was just after a while he just decided to leave it alone as well.
Business.
And Gucci, I mean,
He don't give a fuck.
I mean, Gucci, I mean, you know, the music is still the music. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I feel like, respectfully though, I'll say this. T.I., you know, is still married and he's a family man.
Yeah.
And, you know, him and Tiny is raising their family. And I feel like overall, you know what I'm saying, they definitely have inspired a generation. I feel like Jeezy, you know, he's busy. He's married. He has a child or children. I don't know how many, but he's a family man. And Gucci, I mean, shout out to Gucci. He just welcomed his second child, and you know, he's been married for about like 5, going on 6 years. Yeah. So you know, I think overall, when we look at this era and we look at these three, even though I don't think really none of them are really on like speaking terms, or matter of fact, let me not even put that out there. You know, even though we don't really see them collaborate or nothing like that, we already know the situation with Gucci and Jeezy. Right. You know, I feel like overall though, you know, just as fans of the music and just fans of the genre, you know, we definitely got to clap it up, you know what I'm saying, for them, you know, give them their flowers and tip our hats to them, because these was young men who, I mean, you know, Jeezy we remember Gucci how he was in and out of jail, and now he's out and he's married and he has a label and he's put on almost everybody you could think. Well, 85% of the rap game.
Yeah.
You know,
that's very much true.
yeah, Jeezy is buying up all the property in Atlanta and handling his business, and you know, T.I. got clothing brands and God knows what else, and
Investing
comedy.
into his kids. His kids are artists. His
Yeah.
sons do music.
Yeah, I mean, I just seen his son who looked just like him. I don't know which son,
daughter
but
does,
playing the
too.
guitar. I'm like, damn. So
That's Messiah.
Messiah, yeah, we definitely got to give them their credit. But just to kind of get up off this point real quick, because I want to go on to the next thing. Who would you say out of all three of them is overall your favorite? Who would you say is the most influential? Because you already know how I feel about Gucci.
Gosh. Oh. No.
You want me to start?
You start.
Favorite is obviously Gucci. As I said before, I think that we have to give WAP a lot of credit just for not only, like I said, the authenticity and just the realness and the grittiness of his take on trap.
Right.
Working with all these producers, Drummer Boy, Zaytoven. I mean, some of the top trap producers. I mean, he did a early collaborative tape with Metro Boomin. I mean, if you was a hot producer out of the South at the time, especially out of Atlanta, I felt like Gucci was really gonna rock with you.
Yeah.
Everybody he brought to the game. I always say this, like, I give Thug and Kid Cudi and Chief Keef a lot of the credits for as far as how his music sounds. But as far as who really put a lot of these guys on and, you know, who really, you know, I feel like inspired as well, maybe not from a musical standpoint, but just from a persona standpoint, you have to give it to WAP. I mean, Fetty Wap is from New Jersey. He said the reason why my name is Fetty Wap is because Gucci was WAP. I mean, there was a rapper named Lil Wap. I mean, you know, he even said, like, you know, Gucci was my inspiration. You
if I'm
know,
not mistaken, I think Lil Wap was signed to him at one point.
I believe so too. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know what happened, but you know, wherever Lil Wap is, you know what I'm saying, I hope he's blessed. You know, then you even have, I mean, he has a label right now full of up and coming stars, I feel. I mean, Hot Boy West, Big Walk Dog is one of my favorite up and coming artists.
Yeah.
Free Pool, yeah, exactly. Free to Pool. You know, why I like him so much? Because he remind me a lot of Project Pat. And for those of you who don't know, Project Pat is my personal favorite rapper. Shout out to Project Pat. Pat, if you're watching this, please hit me in my DM. Huh?
Where's Walk Dog from again?
Mississippi.
Okay, yeah, he's from Mississippi.
Yeah, Walk Dog, Hot Boy West. I mean, he found Shiesty, Free to Shiesty, Free to Big Brr, definitely. What is it, Fujiano?
Yeah.
You know, he found, you know, he put him on. Dolph, Dolph he worked with young in his career.
Yeah.
Bankroll Fresh, he worked with young in his career.
You going all the way
young
back.
in his
You
career.
going
Like,
all the way back.
yeah, I mean, he signed Chief Keef at one point.
Rest in peace, Bankroll.
Definitely rest in peace, Bankroll. We're going to talk about him. He signed Chief Keef at one point. Chief Keef was signed at 1017. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, even Kodak Black, you know, he worked with him at a young age. He cited Gucci as an influence. Key Glock cited Gucci as an influence. I mean, this man's influence is absolutely astounding. And then when you listen to Gucci's music, I know a lot of people say, like, I don't really like any of Gucci's new music. I encourage people to go listen to, you know, Waptober 2, and actually both Waptobers, you know, on 1017, El Gato, The Human Glacier. Like, I really don't feel like Gucci has lost a step. I feel like he has a very good balance. Huh? What'd you say?
No, I started rapping in my head.
I feel like that he has a very good balance just as far as, you know, the music that he's creating. And I still think that he's as hard as ever. And, you know, I'm very excited. You know, by the time y'all see this, it might have already came out. But the 06 Gucci song with 21 and the Baby, I mean, I feel like it's me 06 and 07, 08, and even 09. The last nigga try me, go ask him. Oh, wait, the last nigga try me, go ask him. He didn't survive. I'm like, damn. Like...
Like, he's the only one out of the three that ain't just like completely said, hey, I'm gonna just
and I think that's why for me
on from it.
I mean, like I said, I kind of veered off, but you know, as far as why he's my favorite. But like I said, the influence, the quality of lyrics, the longevity. I'm sorry, I'm not interested really in too much. Like, I'm not listening to a new Jeezy album. I'm not listening to a new T.I. album. You know, Gucci drops. So like I said, it's just my personal preference. Like I said, I salute them two for what they did, and you know, the fan base that they do have. But you know, like I said, Gucci is still out here to me dropping a lot of quality music. So, but anyways, so as far as who's the best and who's the most influential, I feel like my answer was obvious. Who are you feeling?
So you chose the best and influential for Gucci.
Yeah, like I said, from the trap music standpoint, from the musical standpoint, from the most influential, I have to give it to Gucci on that one.
Okay. All right.
Like, all these rappers are all his children. I think he made a song like that 6 years ago.
Did.
Yeah.
So, best...
We didn't even mention Nicki Minaj. Sorry.
You know, this conversation is just so, like... Oh, and then he had Walker.
See what I'm saying?
This is a really, like... You don't understand because this is the conversation of all conversations for Atlanta.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna stall. I'm not gonna sit there and be like, oh, they all the best to me and they all influential. I'm gonna go ahead and make my picks. Me personally, for best, I'm gonna have to go with T.I.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with T.I. Let me tell you why I'm gonna go with T.I. I'm gonna go with T.I. because not just the versatility, but his just overall style. You can't say that nobody else, like, okay, so for example, I feel like some people have came out and tried to imitate Gucci.
Oh, countless people.
Nobody has came out and tried to imitate T.I. because you can't. You can't. You can't mimic his accent. You can't mimic his style. Like, it's just his whole style and charisma. I just feel like it feeds into his music as well. That's just for me personally.
Okay.
Like, I've just never ran across another artist and I was like, oh, I could hear T.I. on this. Or I was like, oh, he remind me of this person. Like, for me, he just was, like, very distinctive. And I give it to Gucci, too. But like I said, I feel like they have tried to, like, literally, you know, no pun intended, but tried to, like, clone him.
Nice.
So
I don't know why you did that. Oh my
So,
God.
like,
the internet is gonna have a field day with that one.
So, like, I just feel like with T.I., like, for me, he just had his own style, his own charisma. And that was just outside of the music. So once he did make music and stuff like that, it was more so like, for me, it was more personal. I felt like you could relate to him more. Like, he was like an uncle, or you could look at him like a brother, or you could look at him like a cousin or whatever. Like, he just felt like family. Okay. And this was before the TV show came out. You see what I'm saying? Like, he just felt like family. Like, he felt like he, like you could call him or something. Like, he was a cousin. So I think that personal relationship that he built with his fan base is very important to his background, and to his history, and to his legacy, as well as everything that he built outside of music. Because if we talking about best, like, what are you putting in best? Are you talking about best dress, best music, best
however you define
business
being the
ventures,
best.
best what?
I want to talk about the music and the influence.
Okay.
I want to talk about the things that mostly surrounded by the music and who
Okay.
impacted the culture. But however you define best.
Okay, so as far as music, I'm still gonna go with Tip. I just feel like he was more versatile, and I feel like I can listen to his music back to back to back because his songs have different, like, some of them have different meanings. Sometimes when I listen to Gucci, I love his music to death, and I can listen to him for a long time too. But at some point, I gotta cut it off because I don't want to keep hearing about trap over and over and over and over again. And I don't know if you noticed, but I've never heard a song where Gucci ain't never said the word trap, or that he's never mentioned some type of dealings with it. So
We
it's
Ride
kind of
featuring
like,
Monica.
okay, well, outside of his love songs, he do got some love songs. Like Computer Love, that's one of my favorite songs by
With
him.
Justin Bieber.
No.
Computer Love don't have Justin Bieber on it?
I was it's with Kodak Black. Now that I think about it, I forgot the name of the song. If that's not it.
I'm thinking of Love Through the Computer, but that's with Justin Bieber.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm talking about the one with Kodak Black.
Okay, I don't know.
But okay, so he'll have like some love songs here and there. But what I'm saying is, overall, for the most part, when I've listened to a T.I. album and when I've listened to a Gucci album, majority of songs on Gucci's albums have to do with the same thing and the same topic over and over. So sometimes I don't want to listen to the same topic over and over. But when I listen to a T.I. album, he has different variations of different things. Like, one might be a love song, one might be a twerk song that he got with Trouble. One might be what they call it, like, I guess a pain song, a struggle song, whatever you want to consider it. I would just say, like, you know, the song with Rihanna, like there's different type of variations. Then he can take it back to the neighborhood and he can do the whole trap thing. But I mean, he had a whole song, the Trap Back song. And then the songs he did with Thug, like, they was just all different songs. Like, not one of those songs was the same. So best musically, I feel like I'll give that to T.I. Now influential, I'm giving that to Gucci. because I can't go to a part of Cali and be like, you know, like I feel like if I asked them the question, they would say Gucci.
Yeah.
If I go to Oklahoma and I ask them, I feel like they would say Gucci.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
Okay.
that's what I would say.
All right, that's fair. Appreciate that. I'm gonna have to disagree with you on the fact that, you know,
We can agree to disagree.
yeah, Gucci.
We can always
yeah,
agree to disagree.
Gucci can't be. I mean, I feel like the reason why Gucci is mimicked is because people look up to him that much. I also
That's
feel
why
like
he's influential.
yeah, but I feel like you can't say that. Oh, you can't mimic T.I., but you can mimic Gucci. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that, but I respect it.
You can get closer to mimicking Gucci than you can T.I.
Okay, okay, I got you. I mean, it's the same one who said go dig your partner up, nigga, but he can't say shit. I don't know if many people got the balls to write and then go to the studio and say some shit like that. But okay,
Have you not heard them Florida artists? Boy, they be going in. Fulio and
who came before them?
Young and Ace.
Who came before them?
Boy,
Who came before them?
Gucci came before them.
My point exactly. But anyways, yeah, them Florida niggas is wild. But as I was saying though, so moving on, Sam. So we spoke about your time in Atlanta. We spoke about like, you know, the Gucci era. We spoke about, like I said, like the young kind of like pre-club era of Atlanta. So let's go to 2000.
Skating ring.
Yeah, let's go to like 2011 and 2013, 14. Now, by this time, were you still in Atlanta or were you?
I was still in Atlanta.
You're still in Atlanta. Okay.
I was still in Atlanta. I was in Atlanta from 2004 all the way up to 2000, I'm gonna say 16, and then I moved to Texas, and then 2017 I moved from Texas back to Atlanta.
Okay, gotcha. So let's stay with Atlanta real quick because I do want to ask you about Texas, especially because I show a feeling because we've shown a lot of Atlanta, but a lot of good questions on Texas. As far as Texas goes, as far as Atlanta goes, so 2011, 2014, as I said before, we start to see Gucci collaborating and signing pretty much everybody coming out, either collaborating or signing everybody coming out of Atlanta. Yeah. So rather it was Free Bricks with Future, rather it was Free Bricks with Future, rather it was, you know, the collaborative projects with Young Scooter, signing Young Thug, signing Pee Wee Longway, signing Migos. Gucci pretty much had his hand in everything. Signing Chief Keef. During that time, Gucci had his hand in everything. And, you know, these, I feel like some of the people I just named, or pretty much everybody I just named, is the precursor to what we have in Atlanta now, today's with the Savages, the Babies, and everybody else. Oh, working with Bankroll Fresh. R.I.P. to Bankroll.
Right.
And we mentioned Future. What was that era in Atlanta like? Because now you got Future coming with the auto-tune sound, and he's collaborating with everybody, and Future is coming with a sound that's very new, and it's trap.
That Dirty Sprite.
Yeah, the Dirty Sprite. Yeah. What is it? Astronaut Status.
Yeah.
And then he eventually came with, you know, the album Pluto. Yeah. Then Thug is coming out. He got the I Came From Nothing tapes, and that is with the, you know, his very, you know, distinctive and, you know, sometimes incoherent style that he introduced to rap music that pretty much has stood the test of time and that a lot of people are using now. You know, Pee Wee was coming through with the gangster shit. You know, and Pee Wee did what he did, and he's another one I want to talk about. But what was that era in Atlanta like?
That era, that was a fun era.
You know,
because that was like, first off, that was
excuse me, I'm sorry. Migos with the triplets. You know, because that we haven't really heard that flow kind of died down because that flow's a Memphis thing, and then next thing you know, you got, you know, Takeoff especially because Offset was locked up for a lot of that. So I'm sorry, I had to make sure I mentioned that. So you said the era was very fun.
It was very fun because that was like our coming of age era. So that was kind of like, we was about middle school. So we listened to a lot of like, and these are some artists that, you know, still make music, but they're not as prevalent as they were during that era. But we listened to a lot of Rich Homie Quan.
Yep, he's another one. 2 Chainz.
We listened to a lot of 2 Chainz. That a lot of Rocco for sure.
Definitely.
That Going Steady. You don't even know. Ain't No Way Around It. Okay, so we listened to a lot of Johnny Cinco. A lot of Young Scooter.
Yep. Definitely Scooter.
Like, we just listened to a lot of like.
A lot of these dudes was underground too. This was like mixtapes. Yeah, like if you wasn't listening to, because you know I was living in Georgia at the time. Like I said, I'm not gonna claim Atlanta. I was with my dad in Decatur on the weekend, and then I was in Cobb County during the week. So you know, but it was a lot of heavy mixtape stuff going on
Right.
in the city.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to know what? I'm glad you brought that up though, because we used to do this thing, Spinrilla.
Yep.
Spinrilla.
I used to steal mine off the end.
Yeah.
I used to steal mine off the internet. I was shame the devil. I just used to tell the truth. I used to steal mine off the internet. I didn't have Spinrilla. Or I had my mixtapes.
Yeah, that's what I'm finna get to. So Spinrilla in my mixtapes, I don't think, like, I'm still
And
trying
that
to.
Piff.
And Dat Piff.
Yeah, I
that was the
just seen
third
it.
one I was trying to get to.
Rest in peace to Dat Piff, because I just seen that they closed down their
rest in
final
peace.
servers, man. We miss you, Dat Piff. Whoever came up with that,
They
you
held us down.
You held us down, especially when we was in middle school, wanted to bump the new music. We got it for the free ski.
Yes.
We salute whoever came up with Dat Piff, who worked with that team, bro. Hope that you and your family are well. But please continue.
So with Pee Wee, this is how I feel. I feel like Pee Wee himself, just as a person, did not give a fuck about no fame.
Nah.
And versus like there were other artists in Atlanta, like they wanted to be famous. They wanted to be known. They rap to take off. And I feel like, and I'm not saying he didn't, but I don't feel like he was pressed about it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if he wanted to do this and tour here and tour there, like he would have did that shit.
Yeah.
And he didn't. So it's like, I think he kind of just like stuck to what he wanted to stick to. Like he stick to what he wanted to stick to. I don't feel like he was just like, oh, I gotta be in front of these major labels. I gotta do this deal with QC.
I don't think Pee Wee ever signed. I think Pee Wee independent still.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. After all these years, as many people as he know and people that know him, you think he couldn't have been like, had a fan base as big as Thug's? I feel like he could have if he wanted to.
Yeah.
But I also feel like that a lot of Thug's success and a lot of other Atlanta rappers' success had a lot to do with. I feel like it had a lot to do with like looks too. You know what I'm saying? Like Thug just he had the dreads and he had the eclectic fashion choices. So some of that kind of made Thug go viral too. He would paint his nails. You know, Pee Wee don't do that shit.
No, he don't.
He don't do that shit. So it's kind of like the people that do pay attention to him, I don't think it's gonna be a little boy or whatever. Like Thug got fans as young as like 5.
Yeah.
They don't know what the fuck he talking about. They don't care, but they like the way he looks.
Yeah.
And I feel like that has a lot to play into it too. So off the comparison or whatever, I think that Pee Wee has done a great job of staying true to himself.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Thug is being himself though.
I didn't say he wasn't.
Oh, okay. I'm
but
sorry.
I'm saying that with him staying true to himself, like it's not going to be the extras. That's not who he is.
I see your point. Yeah, I understand. And like I said, I mean, respectfully, I think Pee Wee was always one of those artists that probably could have really benefited from having maybe like a partnership with like a label. Rather it was a label services deal or a distribution deal. Like if he was able to get his music heard in a lot more places, I always feel like Pee Wee could, really be heard a lot more than what he was. But, definitely shout out to Long Way though. I mean,
Right. I think we definitely give him his credit.
yeah, in Atlanta, Long Way huge. And I mean, this might not be the most positive thing, to talk about, but even then, like when we talk about rappers, really, I mean, like the drug culture that really that is really taking over hip hop, especially within 2016 and like 2020, even still to this day. I mean, I give Pee Wee a lot of credit with that one. Like Pee Wee and Thug, like Thug came out with the song Stoner, and then if you listen to like the Blue Eminem 2. Pee Wee is all about, you know what I'm saying, lean,
and
pills, it's all in his music, So not to say that I'm not trying to glorify that, not trying to glorify that in any way, shape, form, or fashion. But, I mean, if you got influence, you got influence. So, as far as one of the first rappers really coming out and talking about that and making that cool, I ain't gonna say Pee Wee was the first, because, I definitely think 3 6 Mafia and some other people, UGK was influential on that too. But as far as who was of this era, Pee Wee definitely. So
yeah, I'll agree with that because as far as like when you talk about that culture, I don't think Atlanta was ever really so hyper focused on that because we had Outkast and Goody Mob, we had Pastor Troy, so a lot of that music was like it was more like I call it like daily life music sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, not to put it into a category, but that would be one of the tags. Like, if I had like different hashtags, that would be like one of the hashtags. And it's like, life in Atlanta, this is what it's like, you know. And Andre 3000, he would rap about it sometimes, but he's not about to just be sitting there, you know, going on and on about it. So it's like, it would just be hinted at here and there, but nobody was trying to glorify that. We was trying to glorify the good part of Atlanta, you know. So Def, what? The Brat, Crisscross, like that whole
that
era,
was really never us.
Yeah, that's not us.
Man, like I said,
you know, it happened.
Gucci, T.I., and Jeezy kind of started like the drug era, you know, the trapping era. But as far as using that shit,
right,
Thug Long Way.
Atlanta was all about having fun.
Yeah.
Via Freaknik, for example. You know, like, and even outside of Freaknik, like
Freaknik, yeah, but
it's always, I feel like Atlanta has always just been big on getting together, throwing parties, dancing, and like that's just always been our culture. So I don't think that I don't think that it was anything new. It just wasn't talked about. We just ain't talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, what we finna talk about it for? You see all these rappers getting their lyrics used in the courts and stuff. Yeah. I never understood the point of talking about it. I'm just like, if you do it, you do it. You sell it, you sell it. You smoke it, you smoke it. But I don't feel like you should be putting it in your music.
I can respect that. But like I said, as far as my point with Long Way, you know, and I salute you for feeling that way. As far as my point with Long Way, I mean, at the end of the day, it's influential.
Right.
And I got to give him his credit on that one because that really was the dominating sound from 2016 to 2020. And as I said before, I remember, you know, and like I said, I listened to a lot of different rap from West Coast to down South to East Coast to even overseas at times. So I really credit him with really making that like the thing to do. I'll say that.
Right.
But moving off of Pee Wee, shout out to Pee Wee Long Way though, definitely. I definitely want to talk about Future and I want to talk about Migos before we get to your time in Texas. As far as Future, I mean, like I said, I was in Georgia at this time. You couldn't go around them. You couldn't go leave your house without hearing Turn Off the Lights, Jeez. Magic with T.I., Tony Montana. I mean, and the fact that same damn time. I mean, the list goes on and
like like,
why do you feel? And even now, I mean, Future, his last album is platinum. It went platinum in like 6-7 months. Yeah, and I mean, I think he sold his publishing catalog for 75 M's. So, you know, how has Future been able to, or what do you feel? Because like I said, when Future came out, it was so creative. It was like, okay, it's auto-tune, but it's gangster. Wait a minute, time out. We could dance to this. Yeah. Wait a minute, this shit in the club. Like, you know, that's why I probably say like Future might be the most important artist out of Atlanta over the last 10 years. You know,
I can agree.
Yeah, you know, like I said, I mean, I probably have to really sit down and think about it, but I might have to say it's him. Because you was really in Atlanta. Yeah. Talk about Future and why you feel like he's been able to continue to just push the boundaries and just continue to be successful, because Future's on a crazy run. His run ain't stopped. I'm sorry, you going platinum in under a year as a 36-year-old artist. Your run hasn't stopped. But please continue.
You kind of covered the bases. Like, I'm gonna say, to kind of like piggyback off of that, like the versatility of the songs. Not just like the song, but like the fact that you can do so many things to it. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you want to chill at home, you can play Future. You want to go to the club, you can play Future. You can play Future. The strip club, you can play Future. Like college parties, Future. Like, it's not nowhere you can't play except for church. But you know,
Future, don't get no ideas. Don't get no ideas, Future.
He finna hit up Mary tomorrow.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, nah, he gonna go straight to Kirk Franklin. Oh, what you mean?
I don't know if he gonna get Kirk Franklin.
He'll ask.
I think Plies been trying to get Kirk Franklin, and he ain't had no luck yet.
Facts,
and that's his daddy.
Oh, wow.
But,
okay, continue though.
I think Future has had the success he's had also because his style too. Like that little jean jacket. Everybody was wearing a jean jacket. That little cut-off one, the sleeveless one, everybody was wearing that. His style, his fashion.
Yeah, Future's one of the best dressed rappers of all time. I think Future's credit. However, he did, and I wish I would have had a photo of him, but remember when he tucked in his hoodie? I ain't never seen nobody tuck in a hoodie. That shit was crazy. But please continue. I lost my fucking mind when I seen that. I said, this nigga just tuck in his hoodie? Yo, Future, if you ever see this, please jump in the comments. Like, what was the inspiration behind that? Like, I gotta know. My bad.
I would say, like, also because he was in that Roscoe Dash, that Waka Flocka era too.
And so many of them artists, no disrespect to them, they done kind of came and gone.
Yeah,
He's still
right
turning out hits. He on almost every single hot hip hop album every year.
Right.
Yeah.
I will say this though, Waka ended up. I'm gonna get back to Future. Just quick side note, Waka ended up going into like the EDM music and all that, and like the pop music.
I heard he
like,
get money over there too.
Yeah. So that was that. But anyways, Future, like, he was just shit. He was a fly ass nigga. Like, I don't even know too much of what to say. I will say this. I think that he kind of like, with the Dirty Sprite thing, I think he built an aesthetic around himself. So I think like he started to, the things he indulged in, other people started indulging in it. Like I think Future built a culture around himself. Like when you think about Future, you think about Dirty Sprite. You think about strip clubs, strippers. You think about
I love strip clubs.
We know.
Yeah.
What's your favorite strip club?
Now you put me on the spot.
Okay, but anyway, he
I like all of them.
wherever there's some ass at, huh?
Yeah, as long as they just don't got an incorrect C-section scar. A C-section that go like that, as long as they don't got girls up on the pole like that, yeah. Well, wherever, yeah, say it again, Sam. Wherever it's some ass,
Wherever some ass.
yeah, I'm cool. And some decent wings.
Some decent wings.
Yeah, some
I thought
decent
that's
wings.
right. The strip club. Oh, by the way, the strip clubs in Atlanta got the best wings.
By far.
Really the best food.
Yeah.
But I ain't gonna push it too far.
I forgot which one. Some of them strip clubs got full-fledged chef. You can go in and get lobster.
Yeah, like Cheetahs. Cheetahs is actually like a
Yeah.
strip club and restaurant.
That shit fire. But continue.
Okay. So, I also feel like Future, like, he really got popping with in the strip clubs.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of strippers liked him for real.
Yeah.
So, and then it was, who was it? If I'm not mistaken, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but Big Jade really helped Future out a lot as far as like getting his music out there. So Big Jade is actually on the Big Facts.
Yeah,
Big
facts. Shout out to
podcast.
Jade. Yeah. Oh yeah, she a hustler. I salute her.
She
Shout out to
yeah.
Big Facts, by the way. Big Facts is definitely one of the hugest inspirations as to why I decided to create I Got More to Say. So shout out, Big Bank. Shout out Scream. Shout out Big J. Definitely shout out to all them over there. But continue, I'm sorry.
Right. So I think he just had a lot of support from the street aspect. It's as many rappers do, but you also have to take it back to the Dungeon family. That's who he started. You know, like
yeah, he was brought up the right way with Rico Wade. Rico Wade is his cousin.
Rico Wade is his cousin.
Yeah.
So he deep rooted history there. You feel what I'm saying?
Future
Like,
ain't had no choice but to be nice.
he didn't have no choice.
But to be nice, yeah.
He didn't have no choice. And then
he had to change the game.
Exactly. So even within that, like, he already kind of had that guidance and stuff on how to like put himself out there and stuff like that. Like, for example, I don't recall him, you know, during that time ever being in any type of like beef or drama. Like, to me, in my opinion, he was a fly ass nigga that minded his business.
Yeah.
And made
even then, you don't really see Future beefing with anybody.
Exactly.
Yeah, at least not from a rapper standpoint.
Exactly.
I've seen, some of his
Exactly.
girlfriends and baby mamas and stuff like that. But yeah, you're right.
Right.
You don't really, and he's on everybody's album.
Because you wanna know why? Because I have not met not one person that does not like Future.
Yeah, I'm a fan myself.
I done met plenty of people that don't like this artist and that artist.
Yeah.
Like, it's people that don't like the baby. It's people that do like the baby. It's people that don't like
Drake.
French Montana. But some people that do. I've never met nobody that says I don't like Future.
Definitely.
Unless they like a diehard Sierra fan and they just completely have annihilated him from their reality. But other than that, no. I think he's just like, in his own right, he created his own lane.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what that was. And a lot of people say no, T-Pain did it, but
As far as auto-tune, there's no denying T-Pain. T-Pain definitely is the, person who brought auto-tune to the forefront of music, and he's the pioneer behind that sound. And, we definitely have to give T-Pain his credit. But, I mean, and T-Pain has said, like, Future doesn't use auto-tune right, and I ain't really going to speak on that, but Future took that shit and ran with it. That's what I will say. Yeah. 100 million albums sold later, you know what I'm saying?
he ran a marathon.
Yeah, he took that shit and ran with it. That's what I will say. So, as far as Future, you mentioned something, and, you said that Future really, like, was like a club rapper, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was really, like, you feel like that was really his intention, and I have to agree. And, I just want to speak on this. Like, I feel like Future really took, the juvenile route. So, when I say that, when 400 Degrees came out, neither one of us were alive, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think neither one of us were alive when 400 Degrees came out. But, I always say, like, Juvenile, like, he, to me, is one of the most inspirational of this era because, everybody wants to have that club hit. And Juvenile, when he dropped 400 Degrees, he had an album full of them.
Yeah.
So, I feel like Future definitely, I ain't gonna say, like, he bit off Juvenile, no, but I feel like he kind of followed that mold. You know what I'm saying? All right. Let's make hits. Let's go shoot videos. Let's get all these songs up in the club. And then, of course, he was also versatile with the way he did it because Future has songs with The Weeknd and other people. But, yeah, I mean, speaking on that, though, as far as the club, how do you feel the club scene in Atlanta really changed the music industry? Okay, yeah. What do you feel like really attributes it to the music industry? Because, like, I'll give you a perfect example. I'm not going to say no names, but I talk with somebody who does radio promotion at Def Jam.
Okay.
And, this person pretty much was just like, yo, like, I got this song. So he was promoting this LA artist's song.
Okay.
Matter of fact, y'all can say this. He was promoting YG's, song, I think Toxic. That where he kind of took the Mary J. Blige on. So, yeah, they was just like, oh, well, I took, I'm trying to promote this song. I'm trying to push this song. Mind you, this is a West Coast artist. He was like, first thing I want to do is get this song in the club in Atlanta. And I'm like, YG got fans everywhere.
Why ain't doing it in L.A.?
Exactly. And L.A. is, you know what I'm saying, the biggest, really the spot for music. So I just was like, to a certain extent. So I just was like, it is, to a certain extent.
It tells you a lot.
Yeah, but I just like, wow, like the first place he want to go is go put it out in the clubs in Atlanta. So, Sam, why do you think that is?
We just the best, man. Like,
Sam, you gotta give a better answer to that. Come on, yo.
I feel like, again, like I said, Future really blew up from the strip clubs. Like, you got to think about it. A lot of clubs in Atlanta are strip clubs.
Yep.
We do have nightclubs as well, but a lot of men don't want to go around to clubs staring at other men. They would rather go to the strip club and look at some women. And some of the ladies, they get to pick what songs they want to dance to. They get to pick what they want in their rotation. Some of them, not all of them. And I just think that I feel like Atlanta has a crazy DJ culture too that nobody really like talks about a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of politics that goes behind the DJs in Atlanta. So that's really what I think it is with the clubs, because I did like internship work.
Yeah.
With
Toomp, Scream, Spins, Esco. You're right about that DJ. Like, I never really thought about that. The
Drama.
DJ. Yeah, DJ Drama. Yeah, the DJ situation in Atlanta series. You did internships?
Yeah, so I did an internship with it's a coalition. It's a group. It's like a group or organization. It's called DJ Coalition. So DJ Coalition is basically like a group that operates as an ecosystem for DJs in Atlanta. So there have been a lot of people that actually moved to Atlanta just to join that coalition. You see what I'm saying? So they kind of like have unionized themselves almost. So I feel like it goes back to connections, relationships. If you cool with this DJ, or, a lot of people will go into the club sometimes and try to pay DJs to play their record. Some would, some wouldn't, depending on what's going on that night. But I know that the reason why he probably wanted to promote that record in Atlanta nightclubs first is because a a lot of people in Atlanta are receptive to other music. I'll say that too.
Because it's really a melting
Outside
pot.
music.
Yeah,
Right.
like so many people that's not from Georgia live in Georgia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when you go to, like, okay, so for example, when I moved to New York, you know, every party that I've been to, it's the DJ mix up here is completely different from the DJ mix down south.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Respectfully, I feel
It's-
like New York got better DJs to a certain extent.
and we can agree to disagree.
Okay. I'll definitely get Monty's take on this one.
So when I moved up here, like,
DJs in
a lot
terms
of
of
them,
what?
a lot of them play, like, you know, the typical Caribbean music, the typical drill music, and then it's like, you know, you don't really hear a lot of Atlanta music or Southern music period played up here unless it's Lil Baby. So my whole thing is this: why would that what's the radio promotion?
Yeah, promoter.
Okay, radio promoter. Why would he promote the song up here? You know what I'm saying? Why wouldn't he want to promote it up here?
Because you brought up really a phenomenal point that I never thought about.
Exactly.
Atlanta's more receptive to outside music.
Exactly.
That's fair.
And this goes back to and honestly, I'm a real passionate about this topic because don't get me started. But even when Andre 3000 went on that stage and said the South got something to say, that was a very staple moment in history because even till today, Diddy, even back then in like 2006, 2007, Diddy came to Atlanta with Bad Boys and he signed Atlanta artists. Like, it was like, what was their names? It's some boys in the hood sell anything for profit.
Ghetto Mafia.
Them boys
That's
got
definitely
them
like Kilo
boys
Ali.
got,
What years
them
was this?
boys. I think it was them boys or them like 06, 07. Lil Wayne was on that track too.
Yeah, I'm about to say Crime Mob maybe, but nah.
It wasn't Crime Mob.
Okay.
It was something like them boys. But anyways, so even Diddy was coming from New York. Like, why are you not signing New York artists up here? He came to the South. So I feel like a lot of people up north don't appreciate music from down south. And a lot of people up here that I've ran into don't appreciate Southern culture at all. So again, why isn't that radio promoter coming up here to promote that Toxic song by YG? Why is he going to Atlanta? Because we are receptive to people's culture.
You got me on that one, Sam. I mean, I have to agree with you on that one. Like I said, Atlanta is this huge melting pot of, you know, a lot of different people from a lot of different places. So, you know, naturally, I feel like, you know, more things are going to be heard and more things are going to be accepted. So you're 1,000.
He's not finna promote it in Mississippi.
Yeah.
People that live in Mississippi, they from Mississippi. You feel me? Like,
Yes, ma'am. And you know, one thing you mentioned that I definitely want to talk about is just like you talked about like the North not really accepting the South. You know, I feel like, you know, one of the best, probably the second or third best selling rapper is Jay-Z. I know Eminem, I think, is number one. Maybe Drake. I don't know, because Drake, his streams are crazy. But Jay-Z is one of the best selling rappers ever. And you know, I mentioned this before. I've actually spoken to Jay-Z's brother. Yeah, and one thing he told me was he was like, hey, he was like, one thing Jay-Z understood was that, excuse me. So when Jay-Z was featuring on everybody in the South's album, so he jumped on the High record. You know, him and Scarface, him and Scarface, I think, did a song.
Yep.
You know, him and UGK. So one thing Jay-Z always understood was like, hey, you know, people ask him like, you know, Jay, you from New York, you selling all these records. Because, you know, this was back when Jay was Mr. Double Platinum, quadruple platinum, you know, Volume 2 sold 5 million copies.
Right,
and then,
right.
you know, Volume 3 sold, I think, another mill or two. This was Hove. Like in his commercial prime. And it's like, yo, Hove, like, people ask him, why are you collaborating with all these Southern artists? Like, what's going on? The biggest thing was, you know, number one, you know, Hove thought they was dope. You know what I'm saying? He was fans of their music. And then number two, he was like, yo, like, Jay-Z understood that these Southern people, they buy albums. He was like, these niggas up in New York is bootlegging my shit. He was like, they buy albums down here, so.
That Rivera thing.
Yeah, he was like, they buy albums down here. So he was like, man, I already like this music. I rock with these artists. I'm finna come down here and put a couple what's the names because, you know, the South support they own. So
Yeah.
that's just what I wanted to mention to you as far as you said the North don't necessarily accept the South. I will definitely agree with that. I mean, you know, the East Coast especially, but especially New York, I mean, it's very much a close, tight-knit community up here. And not many things from the outside really come in besides, as you said, like the people who do break out, like the bags and the babies. You know, and when I said that I personally feel like New York I ain't gonna say they got better DJs, I say they have more diverse. Because like when you go to a club in Atlanta, everything is trap, everything is, you know what I'm saying? Not everything.
That's not true. Because we got a huge African and Jamaican population down
Maybe,
here.
excuse me, from my experiences, everything is trap, and it's just like, okay, I love this music, but it's like, man, like I want to hear some vibes, and I know they play, you know what I'm saying, there's certain DJs, it's nice DJs in Atlanta who play like, you know, Caribbean music, but I'm
you
like,
only going to hip hop clubs.
that is my problem, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know what I'm saying, I do like what I like, but as far as but that's what prompted me to say that. But not saying, you made a great point as far as when you mentioned just about how, you know, Atlanta's just this huge melting pot and more things get accepted. I definitely have to agree with you on that one. Like, even my dad ain't never left Atlanta. Ever.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, my dad ain't never left Atlanta. And the one thing about like my pops, you know, his favorite rapper Tupac. Tupac from the West Coast. You know what I'm saying?
He's one of my faves too.
Yeah, me too. Shit, I love Pac. I mean, you know, as I said before, the greatest hip hop superstar of all time. That's a topic for another day because we can go on and on about that.
Right.
But you know, my dad never let. You know, my dad's 50, so you know and my dad owned a record store, so he's just not somebody just with a nothing ass music opinion.
No.
And you know, he always supported like the Southern artists, but you know, when dudes like, you know, Mobb Deep and those guys came out from New York, he would listen. When Biggie came out, he would listen. When yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like when Pac came out, he would listen. So
I like 10 Great Commandments.
Me too. Yeah, bro. I have to give Biggest credit. I mean, my favorite song by Big is Somebody's Gotta Die.
My favorite female rapper is Lil' Kim.
So yeah, Sam. I want to touch on the Migos too, just because you know, we talked about Future, we talked about Gucci, we talked about Pee Wee, talked about Thug a little bit. I definitely just wanted to make sure that we spoke about the Migos because I remember when the Migos came out and they came out with Versace, and the Migos came out with Versace, and then, you know, it was everywhere. Then Drake hopped on the remix and it was everywhere. And then, I mean, Donatella Versace used their song, and, you know, that year in the Versace like spring show or like, you know, fashion walk or whatever they did. And then, of course, you know, the Migos went on and it was just hit after hit after hit after hit after hit, you know, with the mixtapes. And then eventually, you know, they got the deal. You know, they've signed with Gucci. And then when Gucci couldn't help them, he put them with P, you know, and they went with P. And then, you know, Culture 1 and 2. And then, you know, it was up through there. If you can, just really quickly, talk about just the Migos impact and what you remember from that era. Because when the Migos was really popping in Atlanta, I pretty much moved.
Give me the years.
For the Migos? Let's talk about their prime year. So let's go 2014 with Young Rich Nation to Culture 2 in 2018. So let's go with those 4 years.
Okay. So, again, I think it was more so fashion than anything. Like, that was the biggest thing for us in the Migos. Like, it was like, oh, they got this on and that on. Like, because True Religion was real popular.
Yeah.
So everybody, everybody was wearing True Religion. Well, for us, we didn't get it from Chief Keef. We got it from 2 Chainz.
Yep, 2, definitely, because he was on the mixtape cover with the with the Louis Vuitton. Yeah, definitely 2.
So we would go to like underground Atlanta and like get like True Religion and stuff like that. So as far as like fashion choices, like that changed when the Migos came out because everybody wanted to wear Versace. Everybody wanted to wear like,
it was trendy fashion.
Yeah, like it in more high end designers. Like, you know, like we had always liked nice stuff and great designers, but they were like kind of like putting on for designers that we didn't really wear. So Versace and who else would I say? Just the ones that we didn't. Like, we was like real heavy on Gucci, real heavy on Louis Vuitton, and then that was it. They were more like Versace, Prada, Dolce Gabbana. Like, we wasn't really on that, but they were. So they kind of brought it to the forefront. And then I feel like with the Migos, what they did that a lot of fashion designers complained about later on was like, they was like, oh, y'all bringing our value down. And it's just like,
yeah, the high class fashion houses always tried to, you know, separate themselves from rap. Yeah,
they hated it. So that's why when Versace did play their song, like, we appreciated that. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't like a oh, like I'm against it or we don't want that. Like, so I think what the Migos did for not just Atlanta, but for the rap culture period, was a lot of it was like fashion based because, again, they didn't want us wearing their stuff. They didn't want it. It was kind of like Jay-Z mentioned something about Cristal, like about the owner or someone over there, like saying they didn't want
black people indulging in their fine wine.
Exactly, because they used to have them in the music videos all the time, specifically up here in the North. They used to love Cristal. It was Cristal this, Cristal that. And then the person came out and said, nigga, we don't want you drinking our shit. And it was like, well, damn, all these black men and black women have put specifically rappers have put so much money and have bought so many bottles of this company already. Like, they were already heavily invested before this person came out and said, like, I don't even like y'all. You feel what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of like high-end designers and high-end owners of like multi-million-dollar companies, I feel like a lot of them feel that way. So I feel like the Migos kind of like eased the tension a little bit, but they got the conversation going again because once again, like they didn't like that because they felt like it was tacky. They felt like the way they put it together wasn't the way it wasn't runway material. But you gotta remember, there's no runway. Like there's no runway in the hood.
Not at all.
There's no runway when you go in school. So it wasn't like people was putting the pieces together like we're just gonna go walk in New York Fashion Week. We was putting it together the way we wanted to put it together, and people didn't like that. So I would give them their credit for kind of like honing in on the fashion aspect, and once again taking something and making it our own. They were very influential in that category.
Sam, first off, thank you so much for that point because I never ever thought about it like that. I mean, you look back 2013 when they was doing that. Now 2023, Pharrell is the creative director for Louis Vuitton. You know, Virgil was before. You know, Virgil wasn't really necessarily as involved in the music outside of like the creative, like, you know, doing like album covers and stuff. But now Pharrell is a full-fledged rapper and producer. You know what I'm saying? R.I.P. to Virgil, by the way. But you know, it's very interesting to hear you say that because you really just brought it full circle. Migos really does deserve their credit because you're right. As far as the conversation being open for rappers, being able to, like Gucci Mane collaborating with the brand Gucci because they didn't want Gucci wearing his stuff.
No.
You know, who else? As you said, Donatella playing the Migos song at, you know, Versace, you know, like their spring, I forgot what it was, but one of their shows. All these rappers that are going to Fashion Week, you know, Pop Smoke when he went to Fashion Week with the off-white blue coat and, you know, I think Offset walked in Fashion Week.
Yep, he did.
You're right. I ain't gonna say Migos was the first, but, you know, they definitely did open up the doors as far as for that conversation to be had, and I appreciate you for making that point because I never thought about it like that. I do want to talk about the music really fast, and, you know, so first off, rest in peace to Takeoff because, like I said, I still in my feelings about, you know, just his passing. But the one thing I wanted to ask you, and I'm not trying to get involved between, you know, because that's family, between Offset and Quavo, but I just feel like I definitely want to make this point. I want to get your opinion. Now, the Migos got to give Takeoff and Quavo the credit. I mean, whole lot of credit because when Offset was locked up for everything, you know what I'm saying, in and out of jail.
Yeah.
And them two was taking it and putting it on their back and they was running with it. And then, you know, one thing I wanted to ask you, so I'm not taking nothing away from the Migos, you know, saying previous to Offset really kind of figuring out and not getting in so much trouble. But what was the impact that you felt, or your personal opinion, when Offset came out? I mean, when Offset stopped getting locked up so much, and Offset eventually joined the Migos, and he was more of a consistent face, and he was more consistent as far as popping up on the music. What was his impact to the Migos? Because I just throw this out there. I love all three of them. I loved all three of them together, but Offset was my personal favorite.
Right. Okay.
Or Offset is my personal favorite, Migo.
So what I'll say to that is there definitely was a difference because, first off, I feel like Offset's tone is different. His tone, the pitch of his voice is different as well. And I feel like he was more of a rapper than he was like the one that you would put on the hook or the one you put on the chorus. So I felt like he brought like the actual like rapping style back to the group.
Oh, because with the triplets.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, he's the best rapper
Yeah.
out of all of them,
Yeah.
personally. Excuse me.
I would say the same.
Yeah.
I would say the same.
I feel like Takeoff was the glue in between the two. And then I feel like as far as charisma and hooks and bridges, Quavo had
Quavo.
that. Yeah.
So I feel like they was kind of like, I ain't gonna say the Powerpuff Girls, but everybody had like their own role. Like,
Yeah.
so
And it all blended well great.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then you could tell the difference too, because when Offset was locked up, it was a lot of just like dance type of music. And then when he got out, it was more rapping involved. Like
Yeah.
they were all doing verses.
All of them stepped their bars up when Offset came home. Yeah, I will say that. Definitely. Well, definitely. Well, as I said before, rest in peace to Takeoff. My prayers is with his family and, Quavo and Offset. So definitely shout out to them. I know they said that the Migos, I think Quavo said it in his recent song that the Migos aren't a thing anymore. And it makes sense because they're missing an original member. So,
Right.
I'm just so thankful and so blessed that I got a chance to be able to witness and experience, what they was doing. Because Bad and Bougie, Motorsport, Hannah Montana, Bando,
Yeah.
Charles Barkley, Emmitt Smith. I mean, from their underground to their albums.
Yep.
I mean, they gave us Having Our Way with Drake. I mean, Amigos gave us hit after hit after hit. And, they provided.
They came up with the little dab dance. I remember that dance went crazy.
Yeah, facts. they was really, Migos was doing the damn thing. Got to give them their credit.
Then that was like, what was his name? Michi. Michi he was like dancing and stuff with, he ended up opening up and dancing for like Ray Shremmerd and stuff like that. So the dancing came back also when Offset got out.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I never thought about it like that. Damn, I never realized Migos impacted, Atlanta's dancing like that either.
Like they was doing all them hit them folks. I can't. I'm a little rusty. I can't dance.
I
no
can
more.
tell.
But
Yeah, that was stiff as hell.
I ain't even because I didn't try. I wasn't trying. I wasn't
You
trying.
were like Frankenstein when you tried that shit.
I want to try. I want to see you try. I want to see you try.
I don't. You know what? That's the thing with me. I don't do things that I know I can't do, and I damn sure don't try them in front of cameras. But anyway, Sam, just because what is it? We got to wrap this up. Tell me about when you moved to Texas and about your time there, briefly, if you don't mind.
Okay. So you want to know something that's, gosh, my life is really a movie. I didn't move places and then move back to this place and then move back to that place. So when I moved back to Texas, first off, the influence never left because my godmom is from Texas and she's half Mexican and half black. So even within that, I had like a little when I was in Texas, I had like a lot of like Mexican influence too.
What part of Texas did she stay in? Because Texas is massive.
Right. So she stayed in San Antonio, and then she stayed in.
It's a military town. Way down south.
Yeah, and then I believe like Houston a little bit.
Houston is the biggest American city by landmass. Okay, back.
And then all my family from, well, not all of them, but majority of them from Michigan, they moved to Dallas. They're currently in Dallas.
So you pretty much in all the cities except Austin. Like your
right.
family.
My mom's in Austin though.
Wow.
Yeah.
Godly.
She works at a software tech company out there. Like she moved from Atlanta for that job, so now she's out there.
Okay.
But the influence, it's a lot of like football pride. It's a lot of like.
Because you went to what high school?
Tacos. Oof. Oh, I hope they don't watch this. I went to like 3 high schools. So I went to Lake Travis High School first when I first moved there.
Okay.
I moved from there and I went to Dripping Springs High School.
Okay.
Then I moved from there and I went to James Bowie High School.
Okay.
James Bowie High School is the high school that I graduated from. And I didn't even walk across the stage. I freaking hated it. I didn't even walk across the stage. Like, I just got my diploma and left. I left and went back to Atlanta. Like, I didn't like Austin. I like Texas, but I didn't like Austin.
Okay.
I wasn't a big fan.
So you went to high school, and all 3 high schools were in Austin?
Mm-hmm. All 3 was in Austin.
Wow, I'm going to say is I never heard none of these high schools. Okay. Damn, because a lot of what I had to ask you about Texas was mostly about Houston, but I mean, you obviously said that you have family there. So
well, we traveled there,
yeah,
like weekends and stuff like that.
And you only
every
lived.
now and then.
How long did you live in Texas for?
And my family's there too.
Oh, wow.
It had to be like from 2016. It had to be from 2016 to like 2017 or 2015 to 2017.
You went to 3 high schools in a year and a half?
Yes.
Damn. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Sorry, that's crazy.
I went to 4 elementary schools and 4 middle schools. No, 4 elementary schools, 3 middle schools, and 4 high schools.
Wow.
The 3 in Texas, and then I went to 1 in Atlanta.
Okay.
Right.
A lot of moving.
Right. You got to talk to my mom one day and ask her. You got to ask her about why we move so much.
Life happens. I did a little bit of moving, but not quite to that level.
Right.
As far as Texas, what I always wanted to ask is, because one of the ways that we bonded is because we both love a lot of the artists from Texas, from the Scarfaces to the UGKs to the Zeros to the Lil Kikis to the Paul Walls. Me and you enjoy a lot of Texas hip hop.
Right.
So I have a couple questions, and I had to make sure I came prepared with this one because I don't really have a chance to really talk to somebody who really lived there and grew up. Where a couple things. What is it? So actually, I'm going to ask you the first question. This is a little bit of a long-winded question.
Okay.
So Texas, much like the rest of the South, has unique marketing practices.
Right.
So an example would be Mike Jones putting his actual phone number in his songs and on T-shirts and selling them at shows.
Okay.
The Ghetto Boys using a picture of Bushwick Bill after he was shot on one of their album covers. We Can't Be Stopped in I think 1991. What is it? With your time there, where does this creativity and marketing come from? And what are some of the other unique ways to market and advertise you have seen come from the state? Because I know advertising and marketing is like your bread and your butter. You have a lot of experience.
Right.
Yeah, I can repeat these questions if you need me to.
Okay, no, I remember. So the first one that kind of stood out to me was the one with Mike Jones. He was talking about his phone number.
Yeah. 8004. Hit Mike Jones up on the low because Mike Jones about to blow. Mike Jones was
and you
hard,
can say he is. He still is.
I don't,
and he well, I don't.
Yeah, I haven't heard his music. But hey, if he's still making it, I bet money he's still fire. I used to love Mike Jones. But continue.
But even with that, like, yeah, that was influential because with Soulja Boy when he did that. So even with that, like, that became kind of popular too, like the whole phone number thing. I think with Texas, a lot of people in Texas, period, are just very loyal people, like loyal to their football team, loyal to, they were loyal to the high school, loyal to whatever it is, but they're loyal to Texas. Like, I don't think anybody else in America, maybe they might can go. New York can probably go neck to neck with them. But in my opinion, I feel like people that are from Texas, like, they have the most patriotic residents there. Like, they're very much loyal. So,
yeah, I could agree.
So I think, like, one of the biggest marketing advertising things that kind of stood out to me being there was South by Southwest. So every year, well, for those 2-3 years or 2.5 years, me and my brother would go to South by Southwest. So we're like 1 year apart. So we would just go anywhere and everywhere together. And I remember, like, 1 year the baby was out there. And the baby was out there before he was the baby. And he had on this big old white diaper.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he was walking around on 6th Street with this white diaper on. Like, he was an actual, like, child, like an actual baby. So I think, like, a lot of marketing and advertising in Texas is like guerrilla marketing. Like, they're aggressive with their marketing. It's not like a TV commercial or it's a poster that you put up on the wall. Like, that's not the type of advertising they do. They do more like in your face type of things.
Yeah, like even the album covers, Pen and Pixel. I don't know if you're familiar, but they did a lot of the album covers from, like, Cash Money. They did a lot of the album covers from Rap a Lot. They did a lot of
he
album
still
covers.
do. He did 21's album cover.
Actually, 21 brought him out of retirement, so I'm sure that there was a pretty fat check that went along with that. But yeah, Pen and Pixel, I mean, their album covers have been described as very obnoxious. You know, a lot of cars, a lot of, jewelry, a lot of bling, bears, all types of shit.
They're like over-exaggerating.
Yeah, so to hear you say a lot of guerrilla marketing, please continue. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just wanted to give some.
No, that was a very good point because I wasn't even going to bring them up, even though I should have brought them up. So, yeah, it's a lot of guerrilla marketing as far as, like, something that you can, like, touch physically or something memorable. I think that a lot of Texans, like, they try to make stuff memorable. I know, like, even the fashion out there is, it's cowboy boots out there and it's cowboy hats out there.
So it's a lot of designer.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of jewelry too.
Johnny, shout out Johnny.
Yeah.
And Iceman Nick. Johnny and Iceman Nick, actually. I mean, they two are the go-to jewelers for, celebrities and entertainers and sports players. So, yeah.
Right. So, I think with marketing, I feel like it kind of goes back. Well, it's going to go back to the culture. So let me back up a little bit. I'm not sure if you know what swangers are.
Hell yeah, 84s,
Okay.
83s and 84s, the Krager Texas, the Krager rims, the Texan wire wheels. Don't you?
But I'm talking about something specific though.
Come on, Sam, don't do that.
But I'm not talking about the actual.
I'm not new to this. I'm true to this, Sam. I know what swangers?
No, we know.
You obviously didn't.
No, because I'm trying to elaborate on it. So okay, so they would have like but when I say
pokers.
When I say it, I'm not referring to the actual like rims on the car. I'm referring to the actual events. So like the car shows and stuff like that.
Oh, when they drive side to side, swanging.
Yeah. So like they would have like events like that. Like so even that like it's over the top. Like what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Like you can. So so even with that, like it's kind of out there.
Yeah.
Like the swinging culture is out there.
I mean, just because you brought up slabs.
Candy paint. Like,
I was gonna say, let's talk about slabs real quick. I mean, slow, loud, and banging. So you're right, and like just in case you don't know what a slab is, as I said, it's an acronym for slow, loud, and banging. I'm not from Texas, but based off from a video I seen, shout out to Paul Wall. Paul Wall pretty much said that a swanger slash a slab, pretty much Cadillac, you've seen Buicks become slabs, you've seen Nissans become slabs, Infinities, you've seen a couple different ones, but generally it's a Cadillac, sunroof slash convertible, you put the Texan wire wheels on it, you know what I'm saying, candy paint.
Beyonce did the El Camino.
Yeah, I've seen those people consider those slabs. Like I said, it's really all kind of what you personally believe and what, you know what I'm saying, if you believe your car is a slab or not, but generally it's a Cadillac. So, it's for Texan wire wheels, Vogue tires, or the mustard and mayonnaise, the white wall with the yellow trim, sunroof, a convertible generally. Your trunk got to be done. You got to have a crazy speaker system. That's essentially what a slab is, just for
heavy on the crazy speaker system.
Yeah, crazy speaker system. I'm talking about $15,000 speaker system, sometimes maybe even more. So that's what a slab is, and yes, I just want to make sure the listeners understood that. Can you talk about that as far as like the car culture down in Texas? Because I feel like that's another marketing tool that they use with all those, real brightly colored cars.
Right. So even with just kind of to paint a picture for people, like if you've ever seen the No Angel video by Beyonce, she's kind of like she has these long lemonade blonde braids, and she's like she's in the El Camino, somebody else is driving, they're like doing donuts, and she, her braids just flowing in the air. Like even during that video, she had Bun B in the video, a lot of like Houston artists in the video and other Texas artists in that video. So even within that, it's kind of like when they showed the slabs with the trunk opens and stuff like that, some of them even had like neon words in them, like, you know what I'm saying? So there's all different kinds of marketing and like advertising that could have came, out of like different situations like that. So even if somebody pulls up to, let's say they, let's say they tailgating or something and they trying to promote something, like they could bring a slab and then promote it that way with the neon lights and stuff like that, because I just feel like Texas has always been over the top when it comes to their culture. Yeah.
Definitely, people probably, millions of people probably feel that way.
Right. Even with the grills, you know what I'm saying? Like
all
there is
diamonds, they got colored diamonds,
There's no like just regular white teeth. Like no, everybody in Texas got to have a grill, and it's not even like secluded. It's like white people have grills down there.
Paul Wall's white. I think people forget that. Yeah,
they do forget that. Some people think that he's actually like Mexican.
I really forget Paul Wall's a white person
because it's such a huge Mexican population in Texas because they're right there by Mexico. But anyways, but yeah, like everything's always
and that's
been
him
over
being
the
his
top.
authentic self.
Yeah, so everything's always been kind of like over the top, and that over the top has been like natural marketing, in my opinion. So, like even with A$AP Rocky, like I feel like a lot of his style was Houston influenced.
He said that influenced by Houston. Hear it in my music. Trail nigga to the truest. Show you how to do this.
Right, right.
That was off of the intro of Long Live A$AP, or his first mixtape, because 3 of his albums have very similar titles. But please continue.
Right. So, and then Drake Drake loves Houston. That's not a secret.
Not at all.
Then you got, Travis Scott is, from there.
Beyonce.
Beyonce's
Meg,
from there.
yeah.
Megan Thee Stallion. And you see the type of personalities they have. Like, Megan is she has a very, in my opinion, a rambunctious type of.
Very loquacious. Hilarious, too.
Look at us in these vocabulary words.
Yeah. Very exuberant.
Yes, like it's
Sauce
kind of
Walker.
Sauce Walker.
He's another one out there.
He wear barrettes and stuff in his hair.
He wears what?
Barrettes. He wear barrettes.
What?
You know what a barrette is?
Barrettes?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. I'm tripping.
I knew what she meant, but
I had no clue. Say that again?
He wear barrettes in his hair.
Continue.
Okay, so yeah, he wear barrettes in his hair. He wears scrunchies and all that type of stuff. So even him, like he remind me of that character from Don't Be a Menace in the Hood while drinking juice, the Marlon Wayans character.
Oh, yeah.
So like even then, like they just have their own type of like natural marketing. And most of the time, like it's not some made up facade. Like that's really who they are.
Yeah. Very unique people.
Yeah, unique people. So so marketing and advertising in Texas come like very much guerrilla marketing.
Okay. Gotcha. And with you and your marketing expertise and your, you have experience being a marketer, a publicist, an advertiser. What do you feel overall is like makes it the most effective? Just because it's so true to them?
What makes it the most effective?
Yeah, well, seriously, what makes it so effective?
So effective.
Yeah. Like based off of like, does it necessarily line up with a traditional or what people would call good marketing practices or good advertising practices as you are you have a master's level of understanding of? Sorry, I don't know if that was clear.
Well, kind of give me like some examples of what you feel like is just like an example.
Example of
like a person or a place or a company or a brand that has done some type of marketing in Texas that you feel like stood out.
I mean, like I said, it's the rappers to me.
The rappers.
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, I gave examples. I mean, Mike Jones with the 330.
Okay.
8004. Or like I said, even the Ghetto Boys. This is back in 1991 when a lot of these artists was, teenagers or maybe even like, 9, 8 years old. I mean, Bushwick Bill on the cover of their album with a gunshot wound to the face being rushed through the hospital. Yeah. Like, from an academic standpoint, I guess is what I'm asking you. Yeah, like, why is that marketing so effective?
Why is it so effective? It's so effective because it's something that you wouldn't do. Like,
that's fair. That's really fair.
Why would you put Boris in your head? Why would you have a man shot on your album cover?
Album cover, yeah. So it's like expected and unexpected. Okay, that's fair.
It's like why I feel like they challenge themselves. Like, hey, what can we do that we should not do? And they do it. And they do it. They do it.
Yeah, and it's just them being themselves.
Right.
So Texas people are just truly unique, and their marketing practices reflect just what is a truly unique culture.
Yes, and everything is bigger in Texas, and a lot of people in Texas, they like to fight about their opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think is it the governor, Ted Cruz? Even the politics is a perfect representation of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
no disrespect to Ted Cruz. I never met him, but I'm not a political person. But
there's an actual phrase in Texas, and it's a known phrase. It's called "Don't mess with Texas." Like, they are just, they do whatever they want to do.
Yeah, them in Florida.
They're open carry. Yeah. Like,
they don't give a damn.
They don't care.
Yeah.
So, no. If it gets the people talking, I mean, it's good for them.
Facts. Yeah, nah, definitely. Oh, man. I'm sorry, that was hilarious. Next thing up, Sam, is another question. Texas is a state where you rarely, if ever, see a big artist go broke. I always attribute this because most of them already come into the game with money. Because they do such a good job of selling their records independently. I mean, I once heard DJ Screw sold an album, like, I remember the exact number, but I think it was somewhere in the hundreds of thousands of tapes in a night. Lil Flip sold 100,000 independently of his Leprechaun mixtape. I think Slim Thug sold a bunch of independent, high number of independent albums. So with that, you really see any of them go broke. Like I said, Paul Well sells, but outside of that, because they come in the game with money, Paul Well sells grills, Little Fip sells beverages, Chameleonaire is an avid investor into startups and other things. How does the city's, what shapes the city's hustler's mindset? Because as I said before, we've seen so many artists from all different types of places, all different states, you know what I'm saying, get on and go broke. Or I didn't even say go broke, but just be doing stuff you wouldn't expect rappers to be doing. You know what I'm saying? Like driving Ubers and, things of that nature. So how do you feel, like what shapes the city's hustler's mentality overall? Just with your experience. I understand you were in Austin. Most of what I'm talking about is Houston, but...
I would say the what would you call it? The self-starting mindset. I think a lot of people in Texas in general, they like entrepreneurship. They like startups. They like to create their own stuff.
South by Southwest is held there each year.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, I think it's more so of a mentality of some of them, they don't want to work for nobody else. They would rather do it on their own. Like there was like a wave of like food trucks that went through Texas, and now there's a huge like food truck culture there. It's like if you ever go to Texas and you want to open something up, like you should probably open up a food truck. Yeah. They have food truck festivals. But I would just say like the self-starter mindset. Like just wanting to start something themselves rather than going to go work for somebody else. And then also I think it's the I would say it's the education system too. I feel like Texas has a great education system where they actually teach people earlier on to be self-starters. So I think that plays a huge role into it because they don't wait until like later on, like in college or something, to teach you that. Like they'll teach you that in high school as far as like the courses and the classes that they offer. Okay, so like for example, when I moved from Atlanta to Texas, I was far behind academically. I was smart, but I was far behind academically. And had I not been as smart as I already was, I probably wouldn't have passed high school because they were so far more advanced. They were teaching them about, I took a class called aquatic science. Like I know about animals in the ocean and stuff like that. I never had that as an option when I went to school in Cato. So I think just like the different variations of what they focus on is completely different. So when it comes to having that hustler mindset, I feel like that starts like just like early on, like focus, like
the school system and the state preps them for that.
Yeah, like just focusing on what you want to focus on.
Yeah, and I could believe that because you look at the rap labels there, Swisher House and Rap A Lot. I mean, Jay Prince, a lot of people don't know this, was the owner of a car dealership.
Right. See?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And he pretty much gave it. He gave the Ghetto Boy, and Jay Prince preaches that. You know what I'm saying? Like he had an Instagram post some years ago. It was like, people always tell me the most valuable thing that you can buy with some money. Go get you. And then he showed like a picture of his house and all this land it sits on. He said, go buy you some land.
I told you. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, but he was already owner of a car dealership.
Right.
And I don't know how old Jay Prince is, but he was a pretty young owner of a car dealership. Because he can't be no older than 60.
Because they start him young.
Yeah, so if this was, he probably was pushing about like his early 30s and the owner of a car dealership. But real quick, Sam, because I always have to ask about this artist because, this is this is an artist me and you both love. Pimp C. He has a deity level of respect throughout the South. Do you feel that Southern rap would be different if he was still alive? If so, how would it be changed? Because you talk about an opinion. You talk about it. And, just real quick, Sam, just because, like I said, some of the listeners might not necessarily understand the importance of Pimp C.
Okay.
In the South, I hate using these words because I don't like being blasphemous, but this is the only way I could describe him. Pimp C is a god.
Yeah.
He is an icon. He is a staple.
I mean...
like, not only could he out-rap pretty much almost every single person in Texas, not only did he embrace all the young guys in Texas, I mean, spoke his mind, could sing like a bird. I don't think people give Pimp his credit for the way he could sing. But like, from what I've heard from, Texas artists that came up underneath Pimp C, it was just like, man, like Pimp was just, he always embraced me. He always loved me. But it was like, we never ever really heard anybody get on these songs and just talk that shit. And you know what I'm saying? Just with so much countryness the way he did. So you don't know who Pimp C overall, just so I don't drag this along too much, go look him up. Definitely. You're not familiar with a Pimp C album or a UGK album, you need to go do yourself a favor. But how would it be different?
How would it be different?
Yeah, like, do you feel like Southern hip hop, or especially Texas, because Texas has their big artists. Beyonce's not a rapper, but she's a big artist from Texas. Meg Thee Stallion is a big rapper.
Yeah.
Travis Scott is who he is.
Right.
But like, do you feel like there would be more structure in the South? Because I felt like once Pimp C passed away in 2007, you didn't really have that artist in Texas. I mean, excuse me, I'm gonna say that I'm not going to downplay Bun B. I'm not going to downplay any of those, any of the other OGs, the Scarfaces, but it was like Texas just didn't really have that face,
Yeah.
Because, a lot of the guys in Texas who, the Zeros, I don't know if Zero ever signed a major deal, but the Slim Thugs, the Paul Walls, the Chameleonaires, 2008, 2009, 2010, they was kind of going on about their business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they either was past their peak of this music shit, or, you know what I'm saying, they was, they went back to being independent.
Yeah, the last one to come out really for real before Meg was Kurt Cobain's. So
wow.
Kurt Cobain's, like, when he came out, he was like there for a minute.
You got to give Trav some credit though.
Okay, well, I'm
outside
not
of
included.
Trav.
Yeah, I'm not including
right.
Travis in this conversation.
Trav's a different dude.
Yeah, he way over yonder, like
yonder.
Yeah, but as far as like after that, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, whatever. Then he had Kurt Cobain, and then he had like 2 hits, and then he just disappeared. So I don't know if it's. I feel like it's because the main genre of music changed. Like nobody was really looking for chopped and screwed music. So even with Pimp C still being here today, do I think anything would change that much? It's kind of like asking if Aaliyah was here, what would change? What would be different? You know what I'm saying? And in all honesty, I feel like, well, there's other people that's still here, and what's going on now is still going on. So I feel like Pimp C probably would have been more influential and would have had more of a say-so as far as when it comes to what's going on in the rap culture that's not liked by a lot of people. Let me say like cause I'm trying to word it without like offending any communities. So for example, we can use Boosie as an example. So Boosie, when he does his interviews with Vlad and whoever else, like he's very open and expressive about how he feels about a lot of things that's going on in the hip hop community.
Yeah.
And
I salute Boosie for his honesty. I might not necessarily agree with him all the time, but yeah, I salute any man who can stand up and be as honest as he is.
Right. So even with that, I would kind of say like, I don't know if Pimp C could have been here today and be doing these interviews, because he gonna say what he want to say.
Yeah, and Boosie actually was up underneath Pimp C. He said Pimp C was one of the first people to show him love. But
right.
Continue. I'm sorry.
He definitely was. Boosie. There was a story like Boosie brought in a female and was like, oh, how she looked, and Pimp was looking at him like, she alright. She need to get her toes done. Like she was bad, like she was a bad bee. But he was like, he looked at her toes and was like, she need her toes done.
Yeah, he was country as hell. Shout out to Pimp C.
So, but anyways, to kind of like get to the point, what I'm saying
Be
is,
the king of social media.
I don't think that Pimp C would have been received the way that he should be received.
Yeah.
Like the way that he's received in his era, and even as of now with him being passed on, if he was still alive, I think that some way, somehow, somebody would have tried to find a way to tarnish his legacy because of his viewpoints on certain things. So I don't want to like say that it would have made an impact or a change if he was still here, but I think he definitely would have been like, co-signing Boosie on his viewpoints almost.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, and that's a very respectable and a very mature way to look at it. I just feel like personally, Pimp C, I feel like a lot more of the Southern rappers will break out more out of Texas. Excuse me, the Texas rappers will break out more out of Texas, I feel. And I'm not mad at the dudes in Texas because there are dudes in Texas right now who we may have never heard of, but who are superstars in the state. And the beautiful thing about Texas that a lot of people don't really seem to understand is that Texas is unique because you, as a rapper, if you are hot in Texas, you could kind of tour in Texas. You got 4 major cities in Texas. Now, number one, for those people who don't know, Texas is the size of 3 states. It has the biggest U.S. city as far as land mass. And then all the surrounding cities. It has so many mid-major surrounding cities. Galveston, Corpus Christi, what are some other ones? Laredo.
Yeah, El Paso,
Waco. You got all these other, surrounding cities in Texas. All them colleges that's down there, all them clubs, all them bars. I mean, as long as you don't have like a radius clause in your contract, and a radius clause pretty much is where you can't do a show within like 100 or 200 miles sometimes. As long as you had it in your contract, you can really kind of, as an artist, can make a living in Texas. I mean, of course, you're going to have to put your hustle game right. You're going to have to sell some merch, and, you got to make sure that you're doing your shows and that, your marketing is correct. But then, that's the beautiful thing. If you hot in Texas, you'll pretty much get hot in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and, Tennessee, who have very underrated hip-hop scenes. You know what I'm saying? You'll definitely get some fans out there. And then, if you get pushed to Atlanta, you could take off from there. But that's the beautiful thing about Texas, but the South just in general. That, just being in the South, you pretty much got a world of, hip-hop to really, market yourself to. And people, like I said, in the South, they buy albums. And as you say, if things are better received.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But anyway, Sam, that's all the time we got for today. But Sam, is there anything that you want to say to the camera? Any social medias, any opinions, anything that you like to, any shameless self-promotion?
Thanks.
Any words of wisdom?
I will say that I appreciate this podcast. Because I just feel like these conversations need to be had more, especially within our generation. And I definitely feel like it helps it helps people up north kind of like have a more open mind to like what's really going on. Yep. Because I feel like music is not just music. Music is like it's culture. You see what I'm saying? So it's not just like, oh, you turn on the radio and you turn it off. Like, no, it's something that everybody pretty much listens to. And people tell their stories through their songs. So you can kind of get a picture of like what's going on in this city, what's going on in DC, what's going on in Cali. And I just think that when you bring it all together, I think it's an amazing thing. Honestly.
No, definitely. I definitely agree.
Everybody can learn something from each other.
Definitely. First off, Sam, I really appreciate that compliment. And I really thank you for those kind words. When I first started this, I'll just speak on this really fast. When I first started this platform, I just got so sick and tired of seeing people my age not know about what came before them.
Oh my goodness. This is...
Like, that was really my thing. Like, I respect that music is a very much a now thing. And I respect that it's always been catered. Some people say 16 to 24. I say 14 to 24. Because I have very vivid memories of my freshman. I mean, for me, it was 12 to 24, but I'm just respectfully, I'm just a whole different beast when it comes to this shit. But I always understand that it's been marketed between the ages of 16 to 24 as a targeted demographic. At the end of the day, it's about popularity and it's about what's now. The music industry, it ain't what you did yesterday, it ain't about what you did last year, it ain't what you did 2 years ago, it's about what you did today. Right. But there are just so many people who are just so influential and so many people who, are just so, important to this culture of rap. And, you know, this rap culture is really the catalyst for why black culture, I feel like, is so accepted into society today.
It
So
is.
I just hated just to see all these people who came before us just not get the credit and the respect they deserved. I hate hearing, you know what I'm saying, all the chopped and screwed and slowed down music and nobody knows who DJ Screw is. He's somebody who I want to talk about, but that might have to be another episode. I hate it when Migos come out with facts. I hate it when Migos came out with, you know, when Migos came with the triplet flow and everybody said that, oh, this is a Migo flow, but when in actuality it's really Lord Infamous. You know, I couldn't stand, you know, people not knowing who Project Pat was when artists such as Cardi B, J. Cole, Drake, who else? Cardi B, J. Cole, Drake, A$AP Rocky have all sampled this man or used his influence or interpooled his lyrics into their own music. So, you know, I couldn't, it just personally didn't sit and feel right with me. And now, you know, I had an opinion, and everybody can have an opinion if they have, you know, wonderful people around them, such as my lovely cinematographer, Imani, and, you know, guests such as yourself, friends such as yourself. So that's the biggest reason why I started this platform. There needed to be a hip-hop opinion from somebody who could have conversations with 30, 40, and 50-year-olds and also be able to drop game to the 16-year-olds. And I feel like I'm that person. I know I'm that person.
Right.
For lack of better words, I am that nigga.
It is good because it's just like you said, like our generation specifically, and then the one behind us, like they don't listen to none of like the old rap.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, dang, like it's kind of getting faded away and like pushed out and watered out. Like it's almost like it's fading. So to keep it alive, like I think that first of all, I feel like a lot of old hip hop music creates character.
I agree.
So when you growing up and this is nothing against Playboy Cardi, this is nothing against Uzi, this is nothing against
I love all those artists.
Famous Dex, this is nothing against them.
Maybe not Famous Dex.
There's nothing against Rich the Kid, like none of them. But when you growing up in the era when it's only those artists and your mama is not playing Tupac for you or your cousin not coming over and showing you who Lil Wayne is, it's just kind of like you're getting one, like a one-dimensional type of world. When I can go from Jay-Z to Lil Kim, then I can go from Lil Kim and go to KRS-One. I can go to KRS-One and take it to Florida and go listen to some Trina. Like, and a lot of people can't do that nowadays.
No.
So it's needed.
Definitely. Well, I appreciate it, Sam. Like I said, definitely appreciate having people like you who can come spark some of these good conversations because you dropped a lot of wisdom because as far as the designer clothing and the Migos situation, I never ever thought about it like that. But Sam, listen, real quick, any other last minute or any other game or knowledge or advice or any other same self-promotion that you want to give out while you have the floor?
No, not necessarily. I mean, y'all could follow me on Instagram. It's made by Samara.
Okay.
I will be dropping my creative agency. I will be launching my creative agency officially next month.
Okay.
So
shout out to her.
So I'm working on a few things right now, and I am including like more music, going back, trying to take it back to my roots because I started off in PR and music, but now I want to go into like advertising side of music. So I don't know. If you follow me, maybe you'll see some projects I'm working on.
As you. We're definitely going to make sure that y'all go follow that Instagram. Appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. My name is Cato, and as always, I got more to say.